Paula, your Tigers and my Tigers sucked last night. Sucked. Skubal gets hit. Mize gives up a home run, and they didn't have one base hit. Sucked. That does not bode well for the playoffs. I'm just telling you that right now.
So did anybody? I loved the microphones and the talking to each other in the booth.
I mean, when they do it on Sunday Night Baseball, it's incredible. Really, I mean, they do regular season games. It's amazing. And the All-Star game, it's next level.
Come on. Smoltz tells Kershaw to throw a slider. He goes, come on, Smoltzy, I don't have a slider.
Hold on here. I'm going to throw some cheese. That was just great. That was great stuff. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. I say we get over it together. What do you say? How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you on this All-Star Break Wednesday?
I'm doing well. Good, little break from sports, basically. A little baseball to watch, but not much else going on. Getting hyped up for the Open that begins tomorrow. And you know me, a good British Open on the weekends when I can wake up at the crack of dawn and get up and watch live sports makes me happy.
All right.
Planning my wake up for tomorrow morning a little earlier so I can see the start of the tournament.
Okay. So this is a public service announcement for you golf geeks out there. And by the way, the two co-hosts of the show qualify. 1:30 a.m. Eastern. 1:30 a.m. Eastern. The Open Championship will begin with Padraig Harrington 5 minutes later striking the first tee ball on Peacock. Peacock from 1:30 to 4 a.m. Eastern. Peacock from 1:30 to 4. Then the whole rest of the day, USA Network, beginning at 4 a.m.
That'll be my wake-up call. I'm going to skip the first 2.5 hours on Peacock, but I normally set the alarm. I vary. The summertime, the wife doesn't have to run the daughter to school, so she doesn't get up as early. So I have the house, essentially to myself in the morning.
Okay.
I don't have to share a bathroom, which will start here in about a month when school begins. So I have been waking up a little later, but my early alarm is set for 4:17. That will be the one I will use tomorrow morning. In fact, I'll back it up to probably 3:57
Oh,
to give me a little time to get the coffee going, get the
right.
juices flowing, and get ready for my first open shot. That'll be about 4:01 a.m.
Now, with the mother-in-law staying with you, okay, any chance that, she senses there's golf on the television and she gets up that early or no?
Hell no.
Okay.
She finds it appalling the time that I wake up in the day. She sleeps in still to this day. She's like, that's the middle of the night when you wake up.
Yeah, you tell Nancy, I agree with her. I think it's appalling when we get up, and I think it's appalling the hours of this show. You tell Nancy, I agree with her. Okay. I am very much a PM person, not an AM person. Wasn't that a mini mart? Is that still a mini
AM,
mart?
PM? Oh, yeah.
Are they
There's
still
AM, PM.
around?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I just, I don't think they exist in our neck of the woods. That's why I asked. But so I just want everyone to know Thursday, Friday, 1:30 a.m. Eastern for our Huntsville audience, 12:30 a.m. Central, Peacock. And then 4 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Huntsville, USA Network for the rest of the day. I believe on the weekends it's USA and NBC, and they don't stream, but don't quote me on that one. I think Peacock is used for Thursday and Friday, and it's USA and NBC on the weekends. But there you have it. That's our Open Championship update. And by the way, there's a 70% chance of rain all 4 days. Don't ask me when on those days. I'm just going by my phone, and my phone tells me temperatures between 61 and 66, and there's a 70+% chance of rain all 4 days of the Open Championship at Royal Portrush.
It's what we want. That's what we want. Throw a little wind in there.
Yep. Okay, so there'll be some conditions. All right. Don't know how extreme. Don't know when. If you're interested, watch. I was interested last night. I thought Fox did a hell of a job. I love the technology. It's an exhibition. All right. I'm waiting for the people who are upset that the announcers were talking to Scooble and they're going to blame the booth for that's why he gave up 2 runs in the first because he was distracted. Hey, I'm sure it's not easy. I don't know what to tell you. They treated this game as a really special spring training game, and that's what it is. It doesn't count in the standings. The stats don't count. Okay. Everybody gets in, and we try to have as much fun as possible. Considering we had 2 runs on 6 hits through 5.5 innings, okay, I'm glad they were talking to everybody.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about it throughout the show, but Kershaw was great. I mean, Kershaw and Smoltz going back and forth was fantastic. What pitch do you want? I want a cutter. Smoltz, I don't throw a cutter. That's the exact quote. And then, Hank, hold on here. I got to throw some cheese.
Right. Yep. Smoltz says, I want you to double up on that curve. And he goes, I think Will's going to want, no, he wants a curve again. Okay. But I loved it. I did. I love as many guys having microphones and talking and treating it for what it is. And if it was slightly distracting for some of them, well, you know what? Sacrifice it for us, the 6 to 7 million people that are watching and are trying to support you in your sport. okay, and make it a better television product. And I don't know what to tell you, okay? NASCAR guys are coming around turn 4, getting ready to get the green flag, and sometimes they're being interviewed. Okay, I mean, seriously.
I am curious, Dave. Have you read stuff this morning? Did you see stuff on X last night that people were upset about players being mic'd up? Because they do it in Sunday Night Baseball, and those games count.
But I don't think they do it to the pitcher.
No, I understand that, but
Right. And so there were some people right away when Scooble got hit hard in the first, and obviously Scooble, I mean, when's the last time Scooble got hit hard?
against the Dodgers, the first start he had, I believe. But
Yeah, and I don't know if ever since this year. So people saying, "Oh, well, come on, you're distracted, and you're throwing guys off." And I thought they were great. I did. I thought it was fun. I thought it was good, interesting, entertaining television. All right. Which that's once again, maybe it's why Miller and Moulton loved it so much. Because Mark, at the end of the day, what was last night?
well, last night was obvious. It's all a television show, but last night was even more so. As you mentioned, it's an exhibition. We're getting, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance before. They drag out the starting lineups nearly as long as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And then we get baseball. And as you mentioned, after the top of the first inning, bottom of the first inning, we didn't get a lot of baseball.
No.
We got a lot of 3 up, 3 down, it seemed like. I mean,
it was 4.5 innings. I mean, that's half a game, basically, of 3 up, 3 down. Whew. I mean, give us a little something with it. And I thought they did.
I have to be honest, David. I did not know that there was a swing-off rule for the All-Star game. I did not know that it was implemented 3 years ago. Now, they haven't used it, but I had no idea that was part of the All-Star game fabric.
I remember because it was actually collectively bargained. And I remember when they did it, we brought it up, okay, because we thought, well, this is interesting, because it was only 4 years previous that they played an extra inning and somebody won in 10. And we all know the game 20 plus years ago, which ended in a tie, and all hell broke loose afterwards. Because remember, it counts, and we're determining home field advantage in the World Series. So whatever. So I love the swing off, okay. Mark, here's my thing. Everybody's going to ask today, hey, did you like the swing off as opposed to extra innings for the All-Star game? That
by the way, for those of you that had over 2.5 on the monologue for David using goofy voices, you're really close. I had the under. I didn't expect it this early, but he's on a roll, kids. Yeah, I loved it.
Well, and that's going to be 80 to 90% of Sports Talk Radio's poll question today. So, did you like the swing off?
And that's an over.
And what I want to ask is, okay, obviously it's a gimmick. Well, so's putting the runner on second to start the 10th inning in regular season games that count in the standings. So since we're going to gimmicks in the top of the 10th, basically, which gimmick would you prefer? A swing off or the runner on second with nobody out to start the 10th?
Remember, we're already gimmicking up the games. I mean, this is baseball's version of the shootout.
Yes.
This is 3-on-3 overtime.
And by the way, what do they do after 3-on-3 overtime?
They go to a shootout.
They go to a shootout. I mean, do you want to do that? Do you actually want to combine them? Do you want to give them like a 10th and 11th inning to try to score runs? Okay, and after that, you go, the heck with it. You pick a guy, Let's go. We got to go home. Wouldn't that be the equivalent of a shootout in hockey?
100%.
Now, some people are curious, why were the certain players chosen? Well, we got to be brutally honest. First off, the Dodgers were already on a plane home. Okay. Otani was not available. He had left the building an hour and a half earlier.
One of the things that David Sampson railed upon yesterday on the show, he thinks it should be a rule that all major league players in the All-Star game have to stay for the entire All-Star game.
For what it's worth, apparently the order was predetermined before the game. The thought also is to not use starters because they're cold. They've been out of the
Not in
game.
the building.
Well, there's that too. They're either on a plane or they've been sitting around for 2 hours. And so that's why the reserves, if you will, were used. But I guess the reserves were chosen before the game by each manager. There was one replacement. Suarez was chosen by the National League. He got hit by a pitch in the 8th, and that's why they went with Stowers, the Marlins player, instead. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So which gimmick should baseball use for regular season extra inning games? Put a runner on second, parentheses, current format, swing off what they used in the All-Star game last night.
Love it.
All right. It's up. Today is National Hot Dog Day.
Whoa!
I understand.
Where would you want to go, question-wise?
I don't know. You know, we've gone the mustard way too many times, and I'm not going to fight that fight anymore.
Do you put ketchup
Grilled,
on hot dogs?
grilled, boiled.
Do you put ketchup on your hot dogs?
We've done that so many times, and I hate that question because I'm going to lose, and it really irritates me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. This portion of the show brought to you by Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe. Hope you took advantage of what they were offering last night. And if you weren't, well, head on over tonight. All kids who wear their baseball or softball uniform, jersey, just the jersey. You don't have to wear the pants or whatever. Baseball, softball jersey, eat free today and tonight. All this week, a special on hot dogs and fries, on Bud and Bud Light pints. And make sure you go to shoeless-joes.com. They want to make sure that Shoeless Joe gets into the Hall of Fame. They've started an online petition. Sign up, and you could win free beer and wings for a year. Go to shoeless-joes.com. Sign up. If you head on over to Shoeless Joe's in the Doubletree, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers, tell Fritz and the gang Miller and Moulton said hi.
Fritzy's a good dude.
He is. He's been there over 20 years.
I've known Fritz a lot of years, going back to the Calusa catch and release fishing tournaments that I used to MC, and he was one of the volunteers there. Had many a drink with Fritz. Good guy.
Great dude. Absolutely. Miller and Moulton on this hump day. So I like our poll question. All right. We're not good at poll questions. You know that as an audience. Okay. But I like our poll question today. I have no idea, by the way, no idea how this vote's going to turn out. None whatsoever.
I have more fun with your reaction to poll questions than the actual poll questions, because you're right. We're not great at poll questions. We're a little better than we give ourselves credit for, but this is your poll question. I had nothing to do. It's a great poll question, but I do love it coming out of break because it's David's poll question. Trust me, had it before the show, we're ready to go. And he comes out of break. I love this poll question. It's mostly because I came up with it, but I love this poll question.
Well, listen, I have a lot of dorky, geeky sports poll questions. And a lot of them are not good. I actually think this one's good. And it's good because I think it'll be a little different than what most everyone else is going to ask today. Once again, for the record, every other show is going to ask you, so did you like how they ended the All-Star game? Or would you rather see them keep playing?
For all of you at home and in your cars and wherever you're taking in our show, youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, any of our great affiliates that carry the show in Florida and Alabama, however you're accessing the show, we thank you very, very much. You can text the show at 21,000. The keyword is Miller. If you've never texted before, we would absolutely love to hear from you. I respond to damn near every text we get. I'm keeping track for all of you today of how many times David goes to that voice, because we are in the second segment of the show, and that's the fourth time that he's gone to that voice. I have no idea why. There is no rhyme or reason to it. He can go weeks without doing a voice like that. And for whatever reason, somebody on X last night that he follows was pissed off that Scuba was mic'd up and gave up a hit. And I believe that's the precipice that has caused him to go to this voice 4 times in the first segment and a half. And I'm here for you. You don't have to keep track. I've got a running tab going on my little notebook that I keep in front of me for every show.
I like how Mark worded the question also. Second word of the poll question. He gets right to the heart of it. Which gimmick should baseball use for regular season extra inning games? Put a runner on second, which is the current format, swing off, what they used in the All-Star game last night. This may surprise you because I loved the swing off last night. But I prefer, of the gimmicks, first off, I wish they'd combine the two. I wish they'd do it like hockey. Okay?
I 1 inning or 2. And I'm just right now, if you did the gimmick, the runner on second gimmick first, the swing off second if it's still tied, do you play just 1 extra inning or do you play 2?
2. I would play 2. Reason being, okay, by the 11th, there's a strong likelihood the closer is not in the game. That the managers either use the closer in the 9th, the 10th, or they asked for 2 innings out of their closer, the 9th and the 10th. So by the 11th, now we've gone deeper into the pen. So I would want to use that strategic part. I would want to go 11 innings and then break out the swing off. But once again, we would all know when we showed up at the ballpark. Umpires, players, managers, fans, TV networks, we would all know the longest possible outcome of this game. And everybody would know come the 11th, well, it's either now or we go to the swing off. And by the way, if you've taken your guy, like if Aaron Judge got pinch run for in the 8th, is he available for the swing off?
Well, to me, everybody would be available for the swing off.
Okay.
It's a little bit of my hockey mentality in a shootout. You just pick your best 3 players for a shootout and you let them go. So I would have no problem with someone coming off the bench per se to swing in a swing off. I have not voted yet. I don't know which one I like better.
Well, I don't know if I'm a hypocrite or if I've overanalyzed this. And who knows, Mark? Could be both. And I think there's a very good chance it's number 2 for sure, because I can overanalyze a 3-car funeral. But I prefer, just from an enjoyment standpoint, the fan in me, I loved the swing off. It was fun. Okay. But I think that certain teams, and my team's one of them, by the way, would have a tremendous advantage in a swing off. I mean, my team's got Pete Alonso. I mean, come on now. If you had to handpick people for a swing off, he'd be a top 5 choice, wouldn't he? in Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Judge Otani, a guy who last night,
The
Schwarber.
MVP last night,
Yeah,
he'll be on that
right.
list every time, too. Absolutely.
But there's a good chance that, 30 teams in Major League Baseball, I mean, he's in the top 5. But certain teams are not built that way. Certain teams can't afford a power hitter like that. And I think that they would be at too big of a disadvantage. Not that line drive hitters and smaller guys, but I think that it would be too big of an advantage for 6 to 10 clubs out there who have a stud, who have a big bat in the middle of the lineup or early in the lineup now, I guess. Okay. And so I would want to try to negate that. I think it's, once again, trying to, it's dangerous to use the word fair on Sports Talk Radio, but I actually, of the gimmick endings, if we had to pick one, I would stick with the current gimmick. Okay. Even though it infuriates me, even though my team would probably do much better. Okay. If Alonso could step up in every swing off.
I am so torn on this. I probably, at the end of the day, am going to vote runner on second. And the reason being is at least there's still baseball strategy involved in how you execute defensively and offensively, for that matter. What you're trying to do to get that runner to third. There could be a sac fly in play. There's so many different baseball plays that happen with a runner on second and no outs that I'm going to lean that way. But if the third choice were play to the 11th and then a swing off, I think you're on to something. And I know there's a lot of people already on the text line and the chat room saying, I say neither. Yes, that's 1 for me with that voice. 1 on the board to 4 for David. We're not going backward. We already have the runner on second. Baseball's not going to quit doing that and go back to what they do in the postseason and what they used to do and play a normal extra inning. We don't go backward. And so for those saying none, that's not really a possibility.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is say, hey, we're already got the runner on second. Would you rather have the swing off? Starting 5's next.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, I will say this. You say it's so easy to hit home runs. Jazz Chisholm hit 3 in the home run derby with like 30 pitches. 3. Guys didn't hit any last night in the swing off. I don't know. I mean, shootout, they do that shootout all the time. That's not hard for a hockey player. Yeah, there's a goalie there. It's a little tougher to score, but I don't think there's a great difference between the scoring in a shootout and having to hit a dinger on command. I mean, you're acting like it's, slow pitch softball. These guys can just hit 64 out in a row. I don't think that's the case. Now, Schwarber got hot last night. That was awesome.
Now, Michael, I'll make you a prediction. Judge, Schwarber, and Alonso all compete in the home run derby next year. It's in Philadelphia. Now, Schwarber, in theory, could be on another team next year because he's a free agent at the end of the year. But Schwarber, he already hinted strongly that he'll compete in it next year. And he'll be fired up to do so.
In virtue, I liked your hot dog poll question. Way better than the ketchup one. Because I don't want to be angry. Just when's the last time you had a hot dog? In the last week, in the last month, in the last year? I don't eat hot dogs. He didn't have that one. I'm adding that. Either that or better dog. Chicago dog, Coney dog, New York dog. Because I don't think of a New York dog as a Coney dog. I think of a New York dog out of a cart on a street. That's my thought of a New York hot dog. Am I out of bounds with that, David? You're more the New York guy.
No. I mean, that's the touristy New York dog, but yeah.
What's the non-touristy New York dog?
Well, I mean, it's not out on the street, but no, it's done similarly. It's just the quality of the dog. It's the brand of hot dog that makes the New York dog.
Right. Well, New York dog's a Nathan's dog.
Yeah.
Chicago dog's a Vienna beef dog. My dog is a pork dog in the casing. That's a Michigan. I mean, the Kogel Vienna is a pork dog in the casing. That's getting a little technical.
And there were a couple of other places besides Nathan's, but yes, Nathan's was the biggie.
Yeah, you got to read what Michael. I love your enthusiasm about Alcaraz, but give it 15 years before we start putting them in GOAT conversations.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks for being with us on this hump day. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question. They already use a gimmick to end baseball games in the regular season. So which gimmick do you want them to use? The current one, putting a runner on second with nobody out? Or how about a swing off like they did last night to end the All-Star game? Right now, early voting, stick with the current format of a runner on second, nearly 2-1. I think this will fluctuate greatly throughout the course of the show and afterwards.
I think it'll stay similar to what it is now. I think people find the swing off even more gimmicky than what they're already doing. And baseball guy doesn't like gimmicks. Now, you may be right after the baseball hour's over, David. That young listener may come aboard and they're going to sound something just a little different for the national pastime.
Now, does that count? Because
it was Brockmeyer-esque, but
it was halfway to Brockmeyer there. Your heart wasn't in it, but you started to go stereotypical baseball announcer.
My heart was in it. My head said, "Don't do the voice again, dumbass." That's really what happened.
Because if so, okay, and now I even like this question better as Brockmeyer. Which gimmick should baseball use for regular season extra inning games? Put a runner on second, which is the current format, or a swing off, what they used in the All-Star game last night? Go to that Mark Miller and the David Moulton and vote accordingly. 20 minutes before the hour, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
If I keep this up much longer, Mark, I wish a lightning bolt will find me, and soon.
David, I have a good, bad, and ugly story that I've been thinking about using, but it's a little harmful, and there's some things in there that bother me, and people might get offended, so I try to walk that line. But part of the reason I wanted it is because the guy in the story stabbed another man in the eye with a fork. And I bring that up because if you were next to me right now, there's a really good chance that would happen.
You'd go right past the neck.
Yeah,
and
right to the eye. Right to the eye.
Baseball All-Star game last night. National League won it 6-6. I know. National League scored 2 in the first, 4 in the sixth. Alonso with the 3-run homer in the sixth looked like he was going to be MVP. National League was going to win. American League said, not so fast, my friend. They scored 4 in the seventh, thanks to a Brent Rooker 3-run homer, and then 2 in the ninth, including the tying run, with 2 out in the ninth on an infield single, which allowed Bobby Witt Jr. to hustle in for the tying run. So after the National League didn't score in the bottom of the ninth, to extra innings we go. Oh, no, wait. The 2022 collective bargaining agreement said we will end the All-Star game with a swing-off. Pick 3 guys, and you pick them before the game, and they each get 3 swings. And whichever league has more homers, they win. Well, first up was Brent Rooker. He hit 2 homers. Then Kyle Stowers of the Marlins, who replaced Eugenio Suarez, who got hit by a pitch in the 8th. Stowers hit a homer. Okay, 2-1 American League. Second hitters, Randy Arozarena, former Ray, now Mariner. He hit a homer. 3-1 American League. Only for Kyle Schwarber on his 3 swings to hit all 3 out of the park. 4-3 National League after 2. Jonathan Aranda of the Rays. Yeah, he didn't hit a homer. That's it. It was over. Pete Alonso didn't even have to come to the bat. National League wins the swing off 4-3. So it's kind of like one of those soccer finals, 2-2. and then so-and-so wins in penalty kicks. The National League wins 6-6. Only they have the asterisk because they won the swing-off. Only the second National League win in the last 12 years. By the way, Schwarber, with the 3 swing-off homers, won MVP. I mean, who else are you going to give it to? Right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I mean,
I know I'm with you. You look back to a hockey shootout, as you know. I mean,
do you give it to Rooker on the losing side? He had a 3-run homer to get the AL back in it, and then he hit 2 of his 3 swings he hit out. Okay, I mean, Alonso didn't come to the plate in the swing off. I think if he had hit a couple swing off homers, I might have given it to Alonso because he homered in the game as well. But Schwarber won MVP for whatever that's worth. I mean, what do you get? Like a Chevy? Ford? Who sponsors that? I don't know. I think somebody gets a car. By the way, ratings for the Home Run Derby up 5% from a year ago. The Big Dumper produced big ratings, 5.7 million on average.
that's a huge number for the Derby. It really is.
I mean, with no Judge, no Ohtani, no Alonso, no Schwarber. I mean, we talked about who was in the Derby.
And not only who was in the, who wasn't in the Derby, but the guys that were in the Derby, 1 weren't names and 2 didn't play for big market teams.
Right.
You had a guy from the Nats, the Rays, the Pirates. I mean, it wasn't Yankees and Dodgers and Mets and
Right.
Phillies, if you know what I mean.
Right. Guy from the A's. Yeah, absolutely. 5.7 million. That's a good audience. In fact, I'll be curious. Does the All-Star game beat the Home Run Derby?
Well, it's funny. I have a question for a poll question written down that you completely poo-pooed a couple of weeks ago when I said, what would you rather go to, the All-Star game or the Home Run Derby? And you, this was off air, you crushed me. You're like, are you serious? It's the All-Star game. Who would want to go to the Home Run Derby? And I'm like, wow, I got a buddy. It all came from a friend of mine who said, I think I'd just rather go to the Derby and check that out. So
I will say both last about as long.
Yes, they do.
Obviously, a lot more pomp and circumstance with the one than the other, but they're both basically 3 hours, 3 and change. One other major baseball note, a little bit from what we had been hearing of a reversal by Major League Baseball. They okayed all playoff games for the Rays at Tropicana Field.
I love it.
Yes, that could mean, if the Rays were to go to the World Series for the 3rd time, as of now, Major League Baseball signed off on those games being at Tropicana Field.
No, at Steinbrenner Field.
Steinbrenner Field, I'm sorry. Maximum attendance as of now, 10,046. NFL, there were some big signings yesterday. The Chiefs avoided the franchise tag deadline, which was 4:00 yesterday afternoon, and they signed 26-year-old guard Trey Smith and made him the highest paid guard in the league. 4 years, $92 million. That's 23 per, and they guaranteed 70 of it. So they guaranteed 3 of the 4 years. The Jets did similarly with Sauce Gardner, their cornerback, who turns 25 next month. They made him the highest paid corner in the league. They gave him $100,000 a year more than what the Texans had given Derek Stingley. He gets a 4-year, $120 and change extension, so he'll now make $30 million and a tad over it per year beginning in 2026. They guaranteed, however, $85.6 million of it, so just under 3/4 of it they guaranteed. All of this, by the way, in recent days has made Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, quote, frustrated, unquote, because he says the Commanders haven't had serious talks with us for over a month. McLaurin turns 30 in September. He's a legit number 1 wide receiver. He's been a terrific Commander for 7 years. I say give the man his money. What do you catch? 13 touchdown passes last year from Daniels? And we're really trying to upset the apple cart here. NHL season schedules released later today. One college football note, La Tech is moving to the Sun Belt. In a year, they're going to replace Texas State, who's leaving to go to the Pac-12. All right, pay attention, golf geeks. Open Championship underway tomorrow at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Defending champion is Xander Schauffele. We'll say it again. Coverage begins 1:30 a.m. Eastern on Peacock. And then at 4 a.m. Eastern, it switches over for the rest of the day to USA Network. And by rest of the day, we mean till like 3 in the afternoon. So that's the Thursday and Friday television schedule. 1:30 in the morning, Peacock. 4 a.m. Eastern, USA Network for the rest of the day. I believe it's USA and NBC on the weekends. First T-ball tomorrow, 1:35 a.m. Eastern, Padraig Harrington. Xander, J.J. Spawn, and John Rahm, just before 5 a.m. 5:09 a.m., Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, and Scotty Scheffler. Then you go to the late groups. Bryson, Justin Rose, and Robert McIntyre at 9:48 a.m. 10 a.m., Spieth, Oberg, and Hovland. 10:10 a.m., Rory, JT, and Tommy Fleetwood. Some of the marquee groupings tomorrow. By the way, they put Phil with 2 no-names in the 5th group off the tee. They are really honked at him. Remember a few years ago, they told him not to come. They had the big celebration of past Open champions. They told Norman and him, don't come. Norman, who had won the thing twice.
Right.
Right. Phil, who, 6 majors, won there. Right. The whole deal. They're like, yeah, don't come. We don't want to see you. Now they put him in, 5th group off the tee with literally 2 guys I've never heard of. And you and I have heard of a lot of golfers. NASCAR. Well, we'll see how serious NASCAR is. And my guess is pretty serious because as of today, they can revoke the charters from 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports. That's 6 charters, and they can immediately sell them to anyone else in the sport unless those 2 race teams get a court injunction, and they asked for one on Monday, and they've yet to get it. So
they're trying to get through the season with this injunction.
Right.
And if NASCAR does what they want to do, they won't have their charters for this weekend.
Correct. In Dover, which means they'd have to qualify on speed. Now, they'd likely get in, and they'd likely get in every race. But they'd also earn less points and less money going forward because they'd be unchartered teams. But here's what I'm most interested in. This is where we find out whether or not the rest of the garage actually quietly supports Michael Jordan's race team and Front Row Motorsports, or whether or not they're like, no, man, we're on board with the France family. Because they're going to make 6 charters available. These charters are tough to get a hold of. Okay, and we'll see if Penske and, all the other big race teams, Joe Gibbs Racing, whether or not, they go, ooh, really? Charters available? I'll buy one of them. And by the way, once they buy it, those charters are unavailable for Michael Jordan's race team and Front Row Motorsports in theory going forward. But that's a whole other story. 2 games in the WNBA last night. Caitlin Clark only hit 1-3 again, 1 for 7 from downtown.
1 for 7.
I think in her last 5 road games, she's something like 1 for 35 from 3. It's amazing how her outside shot on the road, it's not that great at home, but it has completely disappeared on the road. And then, Mark, with under a minute to go, she re-injured her groin. And this was going to be a big weekend for the WNBA. 3-point shooting contest, which she was going to be in. Sabrina was going to be in. All right. Paige was going to be in. The All-Star games in Indianapolis, which is obviously where she plays. By the way, they moved last night's Indiana-Connecticut Sun game to TD Gardens in Boston. It did over 19,000. Indiana 185-77. Caitlin with 14 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Sparks were up 25 at the half. LA beat Washington 99-80. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five. 5 big stories, and Caitlin Clark suddenly can't shoot here on Miller and Moulton.
Yep. We'll see if she now participates in the 3-point contest because they had a good group. But I'd like to see her shooting it just to see if she's left alone, if she can still make shots. This is ugly.
This is a slump.
Something that was not ugly, but very honest. Next.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David
This
Moulton.
is Miller and Moulton.
David,
Yes.
just a house cleaning thing. If you're doing the open, it's on Peacock for everything. If that's your only source, it's everything you've said is 100% correct. But in addition, it's on Peacock the whole time. You're right. You're dead nuts on with everything you said. I just looked it up when you said you didn't know the weekend, and it's like it's all available on Peacock. That was, I guess, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's available on Peacock. Thursday and Friday, Peacock 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., and then 4 a.m. to 3:30 USA and the NBC Sports app.
Huh.
That's unusual. Why wouldn't you just give it to
Right.
Peacock? That doesn't make any sense to me, but I think she's injured. I think she's trying to play. I think she's come back too soon twice from injury. You shoot with your legs. That's your shot. And she's had a groin injury and a leg injury. And I think she's come back early, and that's why she keeps re-injuring it. That's my personal opinion, Sonny.
I think it's kind of funny. I think.
Oh, wow. It's 5. I don't know if we can play. This thing's 5 minutes long, David. I did not think it was that long.
Oh, the Scheffler thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very long. Well, you heard it.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, what I heard was only like 2 minutes and change. So I must have got a watered down version. Here we go. I got one that's 2 minutes.
It feels like you work your whole life.
By the way, somebody was correcting me on Twitch. I'm sorry. She's 2 for 35 in her last 5 road games, not 1 for 35.
That, and you got to give it up for Sark. We only have so much money to go around.
How about Sark getting introduced and having the Texas A&M theme being played while he walks up to the podium, and he totally doesn't acknowledge it? Yeah. Oh, it's spectacular. It's the A&M song.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. SEC guy goes in, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian, and the A&M song plays. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's and I'm being serious here. You don't like to fire people. All I'm saying is the guy running the audio.
Gotta go.
He's got to go.
Gotta go.
I mean, you've got him lined up with the songs you play. There's 16 of them. It's not that, or 14 of them, whatever. It's not that damn hard.
Not only that, it's 4 coaches a day, and they've known weeks in advance. I mean, you know when they are.
Right.
I mean, I don't have to fire the guy, but I can't give him the SEC media days anymore. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I know we did the one poll question. Did you throw in on National Hot Dog Day, the second one as well?
I have not. I don't want to do the damn do you put ketchup on your hot dog thing, because that just irritates me for everybody that answers yes. And it could be over 50. It doesn't matter where it is. I don't care if 2% of the people vote yes. That's the wrong answer. I can't handle that today. I just can't handle that. So I thought, from a hot dog question, one of the guys in our chat room suggested, when's the last time you had a dog? And I thought that was a fair question. And I thought maybe, do you go Chicago dog, New York dog? And I know Coney Island's in New York, but I don't think of a Coney dog as a New York dog. I think of a New York dog as a Nathan's dog, as a street, as a street vendor dog. You don't do a lot. I mean, you tell me. You're the guy that spent. I know you didn't grow up in New York City, but you spent a lot of your life going to the city.
Yep.
Is chili sauce a staple on a New York hot dog?
No, on a New York dog, no.
I didn't think so. Like that's Coney dogs are big where I'm from. The Detroit area, Michigan, they love their Coney dogs. No beans. It's a chili type sauce with no beans.
Right.
So I don't, do you do Chicago dog versus New York dog? But I thought one of the guys in the chat room said something along the lines of, when's the last time you had a hot dog? A week, a month, a year? I don't eat hot dogs.
Well, you could have one this week at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Bell Tower Shops in Fort Myers. They've got a special all week long, Mark. Hot dogs and fries for $5. They got Bud and Bud Light pints on special as well. Make sure you sign the online petition, shoeless-joes.com. They want to get Shoeless Joe's, their namesake, into the Hall of Fame. Sign the petition. You could win free wings and beer for a year, and then you could answer our poll question differently because you've had a hot dog. At Shoeless Joe's, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Tell Fritz and the gang Miller and Moulton said hi.
See what he did there? He walked me right down the hot dog question into a live read. That is professional broadcasting. You know what? Seth Everett, you're coming on later in the show. Did they teach you that at Syracuse?
Can Andrew Catalan do that? Huh?
So yesterday at the press conference at the Open Championship, Scotty Scheffler was on the podium, and he was asked about winning. I have a snippet of his answer. His answer was 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I have a little shorter version. It's long. It's 2 minutes. It is one of the most thoughtful, precise, and intelligent answers that I've ever seen at a press conference. Here's Scotty Scheffler yesterday at the Open Championship.
It feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And I like to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home. I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Is it great to be able to win tournaments and to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf? Yeah. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about, because it's literally worked my entire life to become good at the sport, and to have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think is a pretty cool feeling. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of like the deepest, places of your heart. There's a lot of people that make it to what they thought was going to fulfill them in life, and then you get there and all of a sudden you get to number one in the world, and then they're like, what's the point? And I really do believe that, because what is the point? You're like, why do I want to win this tournament so bad? That's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. I'm kind of a sicko. I love putting in the work. I love being able to practice. I love getting out to live out my dreams. But at the end of the day, sometimes I just don't understand the point. I love the challenge. I love being able to play this game for a living. It's one of the greatest joys of my life. But does it fill the deepest, wants and desires of my heart? Absolutely not. I love being a father. I love being able to take care of my son. I love being able to provide for my family out here playing golf. And every day when I wake up early to go put in the work, my wife thanks me for going out and working so hard. And when I get home, I try and thank her every day for taking care of our son. It's just, that's why I talk about families being my priority, because it really is. I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life, or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living. I would much rather be a great father than I would be a great golfer. That at the end of the day, that's what's more important to me.
That's Scotty Scheffler yesterday at the Open Championship press conference. And David, you are a huge press conference guy, more so than me. You love hearing the athlete, the coach, speak about the game they just played or the game they're going to play. I don't recall ever hearing an interview quite like that.
He went a little further. One of his comments during that 5-minute answer, and we only played, as you said, 2 minutes of it, he said, I am not trying to inspire the next generation of golfers to be the next world number one. I don't care about that. He just said it matter-of-factly. Okay. Now, that's not how Tiger felt. That's not how others feel. I mean, that to me, he wasn't nearly as harshly, but you and I are old enough to remember, and he took a ton of heat when he said this. But 35 years ago, Charles Barkley looked right into the camera and said, I'm not a role model. Okay. And if you look up to me as a role model, that's a you problem. That's your parents' problem. I'm not a role model. Don't expect me to be one.
And he got crushed. That was old school media. You have a responsibility to the kids out there with the way you play. Yes, that's
Whoa.
number 3 for me, David.
Wow.
I'm closing in. You're at 4. I'm at 3 of stupid voices today. I have no idea why this is going on.
Wow.
Text
So
21,000. Miller's the keyword. Tell us to stop now.
So for the record, the National League and American League had a swing off last night to determine the winner of the All-Star game. Today, Miller and Moulton are having a voice off.
Yes, we are. It's
Wow.
on, David. It is on between the two of us.
Well, Barkley got crushed, and that's late 80s, early 90s. I mean, it's 35 years ago. Barkley said it. Destroyed. And he didn't back down one iota. And I thought he was right then. Okay. And he looked into the camera because, needless to say, people came to him and questioned him about what he said. And he said, hey, man, your parents need to be your role models. Okay. Not me. I play basketball. Give me a break. I thought he was right then, but I just thought it was interesting. Okay. I mean, listen, Mark, you and I begged for 6 seconds of truth.
And he gave 5 minutes
Right.
of uninterrupted truth bombs, one after another.
So, I mean, I can respect that. I mean, Scotty doesn't do it for me. I mean, he's got the personality of a pet rock. Okay. But I mean, he's an amazing golfer, obviously.
And I probably like him a little more than you do. Simply, I'll fall back on what I've said for nearly 20 years on the radio. I love greatness. And when he has it going on, I don't care about his personality. I like his shot making. When his iron play is the way it can be, it's Tiger-esque the way he's played the last couple of years. It's the closest thing we've seen to the guy named Woods since Woods was doing his thing. And it's not Tiger Woods. I'm not trying to compare him to Tiger Woods. But he's had a 2-year run here that has been as good as anything we've seen since Tiger.
From a ball striking standpoint, right? Tiger was clearly a better putter. Scotty is a very inconsistent and really like above average putter, and that's it. I mean, if Scotty was a great putter, my goodness. And when Scotty has great putting weeks, I mean, it's over. And what's funny is, Mark, I mean, his short game at the Masters, Scotty, it's tremendous. His short game elsewhere, for whatever reason, is not as good.
And it doesn't make any sense. There are
Right.
no greens harder to play than those at Augusta National.
Right.
And he seems to have figured out how to play those greens and struggles in other places.
So he did embrace the challenge of links golf last week before the Scottish Open. He was enthused. He said, this is different. This is fun. You get to use more imagination here. You have to hit different shots than what we hit in the States. I like this. Now, he didn't say I'd like to play it year round, but you got the sense that Scotty was like, you know what, for 2 to 4 weeks a year, I could play golf like this. This is different. This, by the way, is what racing should be. A couple of road course races. That's kind of the sense I got from Scotty before the Scottish Open. He's kind of like, I like this little 2-week interlude that we do here. This is nice. This is different. Then I can't wait to get back to DFW.
You still watch racing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, I do.
You find NASCAR worthy of, literally this new car, and I don't mean to go on a tangent, but since you went NASCAR there with your comparison, this new racing, most of the people that I know that follow racing don't like the new cars, don't think the racing's nearly as good. There's not as much passing, and they've been turned off by it.
And I agree with all of it, and they're racing on way too many road courses. But do you know what has actually brought me back? First Amazon and now TNT, because I think the same people who did the racing on Amazon are doing the racing now on TNT. Their coverage is exceptional. It's next level. Okay, remember when Fox took over 25 years ago and they took NASCAR coverage from sound and video, and they just took it to the next level? Well, in the last 7-8 weeks, I feel that NASCAR coverage on television has been taken to the next level, and that I enjoy. Also, this was supposed to be a big year for IndyCar, so I've actually watched a decent amount of it. And by the way, okay, boy, has IndyCar been boring. Man, is this going to just.
And you're the only one watching, including those in the stands, because I
Yeah, I
saw the
know.
attendance in Iowa, and it was disgraceful. Let's have 2 races here. Why? No one wanted to come to one.
Right.
I mean,
Oh.
that, we did a show many years ago of what franchise could leave, disappear, and no one would notice. David, I know the 500's a big deal to a lot of people. Outside of that race, that entire circuit could disappear and no one would notice. No one. It's not, I mean, you'd rather talk hockey than IndyCar racing. It's a 10-1 sport. And think of where hockey is in the sports Parthenon. Miller and Moulton. Vote on our poll question. It's about baseball. We're going to get a hot dog one up soon. We'll talk a little British Open in 25 minutes here on Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I got to tell you, DC, if that's the case, that's a sorry state of affairs for that race. I mean, people are only going to the race because of the pre or post game concert. Wow.
Well, I will say the John Deere Classic, they had concerts after both the third and fourth round, and they had big country bands both times.
Since we have a long list of guests after this, we want to go Texas here, or do we want to wait till 9 for Sark Talk? Oh, I got to do the coolest thing I've seen today. Crap. So I found an interesting tidbit yesterday. Somehow we were talking about, I was talking to my mother-in-law about, my grandparents and things like that. And so I had to look up, for whatever reason, when my grandfather was born. And he was born in 1920. But what I didn't know, and I've got to find out from my mom, is that on the thing that I found on like his little obit page, it had his parents listed. Okay, I knew that. And it had his brothers listed. And there's a brother that I didn't know existed who died when he was 8. And I don't, if my mom told, my grandma told him, I don't ever remember hearing about my grandfather losing his brother at the age of 8.
Huh.
Lived from 1913 to 1921. Hot dog questions up. So I was on a little TikTok thing, like, 'cause I do it every day for about a half hour. I checked in on my buddy's, one of my best friend's sons, who's a TikTok influencer.
Okay.
I hadn't looked at him in a while. I knew he had over 1 million followers at one point. I looked yesterday. He has 4.9 million followers on TikTok.
Wow.
Right. Right. All for being a very good-looking young man. That's really the gist of it.
Okay. Good for him.
Exactly.
Whatever it takes.
Hey, he's done well. He already graduated from UCLA. You know, I mean, he's a sharp kid. Fortunately, two very sharp parents that when he started making money on it, helped him do the right thing with his money. Because he's done pretty well by that, I would imagine. When you got that type of influence, that's a pretty big number. Is that the first time a woman's made the final table, Virtue?
I don't think so. But don't quote me. I'm with you, EB
First
Hill.
woman in 30 years. Second woman in history. She finished in 7th. Leo Margits. She's from Spain. When you have that many influencers, companies pay you to rep their product.
Yep.
And he's done extremely well.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Christopher Powers will join us in a little more than 15 minutes. As at least once a day this week, we've talked the Open Championship, which gets underway tomorrow morning, 1:30 a.m. Eastern, 12:30 a.m. to our friends in Huntsville. By the way, when I say, and I've been saying it throughout yesterday and today's show, that coverage starts tomorrow, 1:30 a.m. Eastern on Peacock, and then switches over to 4 o'clock on USA Network. Actually, for all of Thursday and Friday, the golf is on Peacock.
No, it's on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Thursday and Friday, you're right. The NBC Sports app, if you want to watch it on your phone, I have to be honest. What the hell are they doing? I'm being serious here.
I know.
They've invested a boatload of money in trying to get us to watch Peacock. So they have the Open Championship on from 1:30 to 4 on Peacock, and then it goes to USA terrestrial television. That's fine. Or cable television, whatever you want to call it. But they also offer it on the NBC Sports app on Thursday and Friday. Saturday and Sunday, David was right. It starts on USA. It goes to NBC. It's on Peacock the entire time, Saturday and Sunday. I don't get for the life of me why they're mixing apps on Thursday, Friday versus Saturday, Sunday. That doesn't make any sense to me. You're trying to get people to use Peacock. That's your goal. Then put the damn thing on Peacock all the time for those people who've cut the cords, who just use their phones to watch video, whatever the case may be. I don't get it.
And not to be a sarcastic jerk, which I can be from time to time, but these are the same folks that own the Golf Channel. So to review they are going to broadcast about 40 hours live. In fact, more like 50 plus hours live
Right.
of the Open Championship, and none of it will be on the Golf Channel. Once again, the channel is called the Golf Channel. You have the rights to the tournament, and you're not going to show any of it on the Golf Channel.
That's correct, David.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that,
Man, would you and I get fired from NBC staff?
Oh, my.
We would, we would last 5 minutes and they would just, I think one of us would be told to leave the room. The other would be told to leave the room. Then we'd be brought back in after the meeting in which they would fire us.
Could you imagine at that meeting in which they announce their plans and which one of us first goes, so to get this straight, you mean to tell me none of the tournament's going to be on the Golf Channel?
And now you want us to watch the NBC Sports app instead of Peacock that you've invested millions of dollars in marketing and trying to get your audience to switch over to. Oh, okay. Good move, NBC.
So you think the way to attract an audience to the Golf Channel is to air the Barracudas Championship? Got it. Okay. Just want to make sure what we're supposed to say once we leave this room. Which point we would be asked to leave the room. Hey, we have 2 poll questions. One, kind of in honor of last night's All-Star game. Which gimmick should baseball use for regular season extra inning games? The one they currently use, putting a runner on second with nobody out, or the swing off, what they used to end the All-Star game last night? And right now, 69% of you say stick with the current format, the runner on second and nobody out. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. It's National Hot Dog Day. When is the last time you had one? In the last week, last month, last year? I don't eat hot dogs. Hey, right now, 88% of our audience at least eats hot dogs. All right, that's good.
I've had 2 in the last month. I had one when I went to the Rays-Tigers game because it's a baseball game and there's a law you have to eat a hot dog. Underwhelmed by the hot dogs at Steinbrenner Field. And then I had one on vacation that I grilled myself, and it wasn't a Kogel. You Michigan people know what I'm talking about. It was good, but it wasn't a Kogel. That's all I'm saying. So vote that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. When's the last time you had a dog?
I have one every week, guaranteed. Usually I have 2. Once a week, I will walk into a place and buy 2.
Like a gas station dog on the
Well,
conveyor belt?
sometimes I have to resort to that. There's one 2 miles down the road, and they're not bad. Okay. I mean, I would rather elsewhere, but they'll do.
So do you have a hot dog place near you? Like a place you can go get what you consider a quality dog?
I do.
That's important. I do too. There's one just down the road here. They serve Detroit style conies. They do a fantastic job.
Took me 2 years to find it, but when it's time, I'll be there.
Mine's dangerous for 2 reasons. 1, it's delicious. They have a great dog. 2, it is literally a half mile from where I drop my daughter off for gymnastics. And it's a sit-down diner, but wait for it, they have a drive-through. And I have, David, I've committed very hard to diet and exercise. I've lost a bunch of weight.
I know.
And driving past that place 4 times a week is the most painful thing I do of the week. I just look at it and I stare because they've got a sign out and they advertise the price of their dogs. And I'm like, I could pull in there and have 6. Easy. And not even bat an eye.
No doubt. No doubt.
Time for the coolest thing I've seen today. It's brought to you by Air Advantage. Go online, myairadvantage.com, or call them at 239-433-4635. That's 433-4635. They're offering 18 months, no interest, no financing for those of you looking for a new system. Obviously, great service if you want someone to take care of your existing system. myairadvantage.com, myairadvantage.com. I actually have 2. One came from a listener, and I liked it enough that I'm going to include it. The other is simply last night's All-Star game. Clayton Kershaw on the mound being mic'd up was awesome. Everything about it was great. When John Smoltz told him to throw a cutter, and he responded, Smoltzy, I don't have a cutter. Hey, wait a minute. I'm going to throw some cheese here. He gets Cal Raleigh out on a great defensive play by Tucker. And as they take him out and he gets the standing ovation, I was critical of Kershaw being in the All-Star game. The way it was done was perfect. He got 2 outs. He got to take his basic curtain call then, went through the lineup, went through the players, giving the high fives, and you could clearly see him yelling, take that big dumper. And the other one comes from the World Series of Poker. Leo Margits. She is a professional poker player from Spain. She became the first woman in 30 years to reach the final table. Barbara Enright in 1995 is the only other woman to have done it. Margits finished in 7th place. She earned a cool $1.5 million.
Nice. For 7th? That's outstanding. I mean, hell, on the LIV tour, they look at that and go, that's pretty impressive. For 7th? We don't even pay that. And that's nice. All right, good for her. That is cool.
It is, absolutely. So that's the coolest thing I've seen today. It's brought to you by Air Advantage. Go to myairadvantage.com. And if you text a story for the coolest thing I've seen today, and I use it, I'll offer you an autographed press pass from David Moulton at some point during the season. I'll make David save his press passes. He'll sign one for you, and we'll send it to you.
Wait, the autographs from me?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
What if I got I work for
I don't want a Buck or an Aitman. I want a David Moulton autographed press pass. Who cares about those guys? They're not part of this show.
How about a Danielson one?
Now he comes on the show, but I still would rather have a Moulton one.
Wow, you've really lowered your standards. Okay, man.
I was trying to have a little fun with it, David.
Well, that's about all we have for stuff to give away.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Great sponsorship opportunities available. We've got an event we want to host, but we need a sponsor. If you're interested, 21,000 is the number. We'd love to have you aboard for the football season, which is just around the corner. Christopher Powers to talk the Open Championship. That's next on Miller and Moulton. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
So I think I might have said this yesterday, but I don't know if I got it during the show. This one of these things I subscribe to get a daily newsletter. There's never much on it that's of relevance. Every once in a while, there's something that I can use for a short segment, but it always has an article or two that interests me. Yesterday, it had the top 50 dive bars in America.
Okay.
The one I was at in Savannah was listed as number 10.
Nice.
I was like, wow. I was just scrolling through the list. I'm like, there's Pinky Masters. Look at that.
Yeah, the Hank Aaron thing was incredible last night. It was awesome. Baseball killed it last night.
Yeah, they did really well.
Baseball and Fox killed it last night. I mean, the game should have been played in Atlanta 3 years ago, but they got it right. Late, but right. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like the home run derby, but that was a lot. I think that was more ESPN's doing, the whole split screen and how they did it.
I don't know if there's a clean way to televise that when you go rapid fire with the pitches. You know what I mean? You're already pitching to the guy you're following. It's tough.
It is. I just wonder if they need to follow the ball like they do in golf. The problem being, they might need to double up on some cameras, though. Because like you said, Mark, the pitches are coming at a decent enough clip.
And I thought David's point yesterday is that with the timed thing, TV can control when breaks are as opposed to the outs. It makes sense. I mean, you and I are both TV guys. It just makes sense.
I'm wondering, are there too many guys? Would you want to cut 8 down to 4?
Chris is on. No, I would not. I think 8's fine.
Ryan, the reason they went away from 10 outs was it was taking too long. Remember, some guys get on a roll and it just takes too long. But I would prefer that as well.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan joins us at that time. Seth Everett 1 hour from now. This portion of the show brought to you by Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe. Some have called it a Hall of Fame sports bar, but they want their namesake to be in the Hall of Fame. They have an online petition going. Go to shoeless-joes.com. Sign up. You could win free wings and beer for a year simply by going to shoeless-joes.com. Why don't you head over tonight? Bring your kid and have them put their baseball or softball jersey on. They'll eat for free. Hot dog and fries specials all week long. Bud and Bud Light pint specials all week long. Shoeless Joe's at the Doubletree, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Tell Fritz and the gang Miller and Moulton said hi. Christopher Powers from Golf Digest and co-host of the Loop podcast is kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. You can follow Christopher on X at CPowers14. CPowers14. Christopher, it's David and Mark. I think we can all agree on one thing. It's the British Open, correct?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. And then, yes, here in America, at least when I was growing up watching Tiger Woods win a bunch of them, it was pretty strictly referred to as the British Open on ABC. Obviously, across the pond, that offends them. And yes, it is called the Open Championship, always has been over there. But you'll just have to forgive us ugly Americans. We call it the British Open because that's what it was called here for our entire lives.
So I think 3 of the last 4 of the last 5 winners have been American. Which American, and I know Scheffler's probably the easy answer, so let's take Scheffler off the table. If it's not Scheffler, what American could win the British Open this week?
That's a great question because I think that the defending champion, Xander Schauffele, might be like the closest to the top of the odds board American-wise. Actually, I'm sorry, it would be Bryson DeChambeau. And, you know, obviously no one really likes Bryson DeChambeau to win this week, which kind of scares me a little bit. Anytime the whole world is against somebody, chances are they play pretty well. But Bryson just has not been able to figure out this style of golf. I know he tied for 8th here at the British Open in 2022 at St. Andrews, but kind of a course where he can just blast driver anywhere, go find the ball and make a ton of birdies. That's not the case at all these other links courses, and that's why I think his next best finish in this tournament is a 33rd. You know, a lot of different variables. He likes to get it all down to one simple kind of math equation and know the answers to the test. And that's not really the case this week. You got to be able to hit the ball both ways. You got to be able to hit it low and high. He hits it one way, right to left, high, and far, and kind of offline. So, as much as I like Bryson, I bet Bryson a lot. I am scared of him on these links golf courses. Xander, just a lot of question marks around. Kind of a lost year for him with the rib injury at the beginning of the year, set him back. He did finally tie for 8th last week. He's starting to come around, but I'd like to see him sort of contend at some point this year if I think he's just going to show up and win a major. So I don't really like Xander either. So I'm not really too sure at the top of the board, American player-wise, who could win this week besides Scottie Scheffler.
You are throwing a few shekels, though, on Cam Young, aren't you?
Oh, I sure am. He's at 80-1 if we want to talk a little long shots. Guy who played amazing at St. Andrews, guy who's had a bunch of great finishes in the major championships over the last few years, went through quite a rut at the beginning of this year and has seemingly come out of it. Obviously played okay at Oakmont. So yeah, I do fancy his chances this week.
You know, we played it earlier in the show, an abbreviated version of Scheffler's long answer at the presser yesterday at the Open. It's as honest as I've ever heard a golfer. I mean, it was a truth bomb. Whether you liked it or not, we joke on this show. We like to get 6 seconds of truth out of someone when you're interviewing them. He gave 5 minutes. That was as interesting of an answer to a question as I've ever seen. Your thoughts on what Scottie Scheffler said yesterday?
Yeah, it was incredible. 5 minutes long, I think it was, of just him ranting almost. I found it very interesting, and I actually I like the point that I know people don't love Brandel Chambly, but he made an interesting point yesterday after that, and he said it's kind of easy for him to say that because of how much he wins. You know, there's certain guys who win once or twice their whole lives, and it means a lot. So it is a much different perspective, but at the same time, like, that still makes him a very scary player. The fact that that's his mindset, where it can just be on to the next thing, and you know, he's always in winning mode, and he's not really scared of losing, basically, because according to him, after that rant yesterday, it doesn't really mean all that much. The work is what kind of gets him up every morning. So fascinating stuff. I will say I do find it a little funny, kind of the praise he's gotten over that, whereas Rory McIlroy said something pretty similar at the PGA after winning the Masters and kind of got torched for it. So I kind of understand why Rory didn't really love the media over the last 2 months.
What I found most interesting about what Scheffler said yesterday was he pulled, we're older than you, but Charles Barkley 35 years ago did the, hey, I'm not a role model. Okay. Scheffler didn't use those words, but when he said, yeah, I'm not trying to inspire anybody. Okay. Don't look to me if you want your kids to work harder to be the number one golfer in the world. I mean, that goes against everything that, we've been told from, golfers, never mind most of our prominent athletes in this country, with the exception of Barkley 35 years ago.
Yeah, but in the same breath, he talks about how much, he wants to be a better father than a golfer. And he obviously carries himself, as such a gentleman. So he might not even realize it, but he is sort of a role model, maybe off the course, but on it as well. So, yeah, it was a very interesting quote. A lot of things you could break down, pick apart, and kind of, I think it was a great quote, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it was completely truthful, all 5 minutes of it.
There was a bit of rambling, there's no doubt there. And your point on Rory is a valid one. But to me, the difference is that Rory plays all sides. Rory's been the most generous guy with the media at times, and then when things aren't going well, he runs the other way. Whereas, Scotty gave his answer. Rory's played both sides of this, and I think that might be why he gets a little more grief. But obviously this week, all the pressure's on Rory. Can he deliver? Or is his game, since winning the Masters, his game's been good at times, okay, poor at others. Where's Rory right now heading into the week, do you think?
Well, he played fantastic last week at the Scottish Open. He does really love that golf course. He's played well there. He's won there. So he's acclimated already. I love guys that did play last week that came over and got kind of sort of on that time. And, they won't be jet lagged and they're kind of refreshed and ready to rock this week. I think he said it in his press conference, like you just said, he is, when he wants to be honest, he is honest. And I think he is reinvigorated and kind of ready to rock and roll this week. He's at Royal Portrush. That's the place where all the pressure in the world was on him back in 2019. He hooks one out of bounds, gets off to a brutal start, almost did make the cut, but didn't quite make the cut. I don't know if the pressure is as high this week on him as it was this week. He's won the Masters. He's accomplished that career Grand Slam feat. This would be an incredible cherry on top this week. Yes, every story about him, every story over there is about him this week. There's, of course, a little bit of pressure on him being in Northern Ireland, being at home, but it's not like it was in 2019. So I think it might be kind of the perfect balance for him of he's starting to play well again. It's a little pressure, but it's not like the end of the world if he doesn't win this week. So I think he's a dangerous guy.
Am I crazy if I think Justin Rose can hang around? I mean, listen, we know he can hang around at Augusta, and he did it again this year. But, and he can hang around at a U.S. Open because he can make a lot of pars. But can he hang around this week?
Absolutely. Hung around quite well last year, and he wasn't even in the tournament until he qualified at the last second a year ago. And then nearly won the thing. I think he can, of course, hang around. This is a golf tournament that the older players, and look, he's not in his 50s, but he's definitely in his mid 40s. The older players not only can hang around, but they can win. We've seen Tom Watson nearly do it. We saw Stuart Sink do it. We've seen Greg Norman contend in his 50s here. It's kind of an even playing field, especially with the weather, especially with the way the ball rolls out. Guys who hit it a long way don't really have the advantage they normally would at a Quail Hollow. So I think he absolutely can. Another guy like Rory, who played in the Scottish Open last week, played quite well, acclimated to the surroundings. I like an even older Englishman and Lee Westwood this week, so I would never call you crazy for backing Justin Rose.
Wow, Lee had some interesting things to say in which he said, I didn't try to qualify the last couple of years because my game was trash, but my game's pretty good right now. So that's why I qualified. He's Christopher Powers, senior writer, Golf Digest, co-host of the Loop podcast. Follow Christopher on X, the letter C, Powers 14, C, Powers 14.
For the record, I am a giant Ryder Cup fan. However, I think being the captain of a Ryder Cup team is far and away the most overrated coaching position that there is in the world. I don't think being the captain of the Ryder Cup team has this immense pressure that golf has built upon it. But I'm fascinated by Keegan Bradley because I believe he should pick himself. I believe he is clearly one of the 12 best American golfers heading into the Ryder Cup. What does he have to do this week, in your opinion, to make him want to be one of his own captain picks?
I don't think he has to do anything this week. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to. He's missed like 5 straight cuts in this event. This is kind of just not his style of golf. He hits it very high, straight for sure, but never really been a good links player. I personally don't think he has to show anything this week. I think he's already solidified his spot. Now, he said he wants to be an automatic qualifier to really solidify his spot. I don't think he needs that either. I think he's played so well. He's won the Travelers, obviously, that he's one of the best American players in the world right now. I have no issue with him picking myself, whether he plays well this week, misses a cut, and misses every cut the rest of the year. I would imagine he's going to play well in these FedEx Cup playoffs. He often does. So I think he's already on the team. I don't know if he'll pick himself. I think he should. I agree with you. It's the most overrated thing ever. He's got 5 vice captains that can handle whatever needs to be handled when he's on the golf course at Bethpage Black. The people who act like because he's out there playing that everything's going to crumble, I think, like you said, are way overrating what the Ryder Cup captain does.
I mean, that's 6 guys to essentially say, hey, go make more birdies than they do.
Exactly. Go hit the ball straight, please.
Are we going to have Morikawa sighting at some point this year? Okay, JT got off to a hot start this year. I've been a little quieter in the last couple months. Okay, I'm just kind of curious. Some of the guys that are on the Ryder Cup team, I'm kind of expecting a little more from here.
Absolutely, and I don't know. I don't know about Morikawa. It just seems to be a lot of turmoil surrounding him right now. Ever since Bay Hill, where I think everybody thought he was going to win that one quite easily on Sunday. Russell Henley sort of rips his heart out, basically. Hasn't been the same guy. He's had like 4 different caddies, a lot of run-ins with the media, very combative with the media, seems to be reading any little bit of criticism about himself, seems to be very in his own head. Putter has been as cold as ever. It's always cold, but it's been especially cold right now. So I don't know. He's such a good iron player. You'd think that if the putter can just cooperate one of these weeks, it should all come together for him. But all the other stuff surrounding him is certainly not helping his game. Like you said, they're going to need that to correct itself quickly because he will be on the Ryder Cup team and he'll be one of the focal points of that team. So would like to see more out of him for sure. Same goes for Justin Thomas, who ended up playing okay, I think, on the weekend in Scotland. So we'll see if he turns up this week.
Christopher Powers, Golf Digest co-host of the Loop podcast. Follow him on X. A very entertaining follow on X, by the way, at the letter C, Powers 14, C, Powers 14. Christopher, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Safe travels. Hopefully we can talk around the Ryder Cup.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
Christopher Powers joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Christopher Powers, once again, here on Miller and Moulton.
Couple of poll questions today. Which gimmick should baseball use for regular season extra inning games? The way they do it now, the current format, putting a runner on second, or a swing off, what they did in the All-Star game last night? Right now, a little more than 72% of you saying a runner on second to continue with the same way we've been doing it for the past couple of years. And it's National Hot Dog Day. When's the last time you had a hot dog? 45% of you have had a dog in the last week. Good for you.
Yeah.
And less than 10% of you say, I don't eat hot dogs. That's what I'm talking about. Go to Shoeless Joe's. You can get a dog and fries for $5. $5 for a hot dog and fries. Oh, my goodness. I'd have 6. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan coming up next. Seth Everett also in the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company. Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, boys.
How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Just sitting here enjoying a sunny day.
I know you don't watch these shows because you have no need to, but I'm watching the second season of that Quarterbacks on Netflix.
Yeah.
The beginning of the second episode, I would ask it, like, not you, but a football fan, someone that really likes it. They spent probably 3 minutes and they were just going in between Goff, Cousins, and Burrow and talking about a play call and all of the things they do from when they break the huddle to snap the ball. Yeah. It was, it's things, but I mean, they're all basically given the same answer in the order of what they're looking at, what they're calling, how they're doing it, and, going through every detail. And then they're all like, and we need to do that in about 20 seconds. And it was just that's the behind the scenes stuff that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah. And a lot of teams have changed their huddle, Mark. I mean, the old days, remember how it was? Everyone was facing in and the quarterback would step in and talk to them. But now many teams have the entire offense facing the defense. And they stand looking at the defense. One, they're just trying to decide what personnel group's on the field and maybe some hint on the configuration of the defense. So it's really interesting that they realized, why are we hiding when we're talking? The quarterback can talk to us, but I see a lot of teams have changed how their huddle sets up, which is a little bit of a prelude to all the things they have to figure out before they go up there.
I just thought that was like 3.5 minutes. And you're like, man, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And the guys that aren't prepared, like Richardson, you can see how they can't play.
Oh, yeah. And I listened after I watched that, or before I watched that, I happened to listen. Trevor Lawrence did an interview with the Barstool guys.
Yeah.
And my kid's into that podcast. So I'm like, I'll give this a shot. I had nothing else to listen to yesterday while I was doing my walk. And I listened to the Lawrence interview, and it kind of explains how far behind the 8 ball he was starting.
Well, the college coach, I had friends on the staff and the GM. They just used to roll their eyes when I'd ask them, how is it with him translating, college football mind to pro football? And they go, he just never gets it. He keeps asking, and the guys helping on the offense, Schottenheimer and one of the other guys was there, the old quarterback from Wisconsin. He said every meeting he brings up the same play and goes, why don't we run this play? And his answer was, because we only have one quarterback who can play. And if we run that, he's going to get killed. Yeah.
But he went through all of college never calling a play, essentially.
A lot of guys are coming.
Never under center, never had to worry. Everything was a clap, no cadence for, calling a play. I mean, he wasn't, being a first overall pick, he wasn't anywhere near ready to go. When listen to that interview, that guy was nowhere ready to be starting in the league. Not even close.
There's a lot of guys like that, Mark, that come from those systems that are like, and it's okay if you don't put the guy in the field as a rookie, but if you put him on the field as a rookie.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in the 239 and the 904 on this hump day. Final hour of the show, Lake City, Live Oak and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett to join us in about 35 minutes time. It's time for Pat Kirwan. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat and all our guests join us on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. So how you doing? You gearing up?
I'm trying to hold off on that. But it's coming.
When did you leave for your camp tour, Pat?
The Sunday is the 27th. They start at New England all the time, so we'll be up at New England. And then from there, we'll putz across the country, stop in Buffalo, which is really Rochester for them. Then over to Cleveland. I don't have to go to Detroit. Jimmy's going to do Detroit. He lives there, and he's going to do that next Wednesday, I think. So, yeah, that's it. We just keep putzing along there. And we used to have a day for the Hall of Fame, but we don't because we give up a team or two to sit around there, and we're great. Now, if it was when my friends went in like Cower, we did go, but most of the time we skip it now to get in two more teams because these guys, once they start what I'd call normal practice schedule, it's very hard to time up a stop with a practice. I will not do a show from a place that's not practicing. So, yeah, we get going, and then we got a couple flights. We had to go. I think we fly out of Baltimore and go down to Atlanta. Do those guys, then we go to Tampa. When we get to Tampa, they're going to be scrimmaging Tennessee, so we'll knock out two teams at once there. So that'll be fun. We'll get a chance to see the young quarterback against Tampa's defense. So that's the deal. Then we come back, and then definitely hitting the Jets. Probably go over to see the Giants as well. So I wish I was there for the Giant-Jet scrimmage, but it didn't work out that way. You know what the problem is with those? There's so much media that come to those things that the PR departments just don't have time or the facilities to set you up to watch practice and do your show and have the amount of guests we require or ask for is a better way to put it. So, yeah, I think we used to be able to get 20 teams done. Now I think we get about 13 to 14 done before we come off the road, which is fine. A couple places. Like I don't have Vegas on the schedule, but when we get off the road, I'll have time to go out and spend 2 days with the Raiders and probably time it up with a practice and one of the preseason games.
Listen, you do enough research on your own and you come up with your own lists, whether it's for players or position groups. I do think that ESPN in recent years has an interesting list as training camps are about to start, because they at least ask 70 plus people that are in the league as coaches, executives, scouts. Hey, what do you think? This isn't our panel sitting around shooting the bull. What do you think of these guys? What did you think of their quarterback list that came out? We all know the big four, Mahomes, Lamar, Josh, and Burrow. Okay. That, according to the people ESPN talked to, they rated Jaden Daniels 5th, Stafford 6th, Herbert 7th, Goff 8th, Hurts 9th, Baker Mayfield making the top 10 for the first time in his career. This is from, scouts, executives, and coaches. Just your thoughts on that quarterback poll.
I think we'll start at the bottom of that. I like it. I mean, you're splitting hairs on a lot of them. Is there any difference between the 7th and the 8th, or the 7th and the 10th? Baker, it's interesting. I bring Baker up a lot. Yesterday, I talked with Jake Delhomme, and I got into a conversation about Baker because Baker was with Carolina, and Jake is the radio voice of Carolina, and he's a quarterback, so they got to know each other. He just feels like I do, that Baker has got better arm talent than the world would realize or expect from him, loves the game, very competitive. But yesterday he shared with our listeners just the person Baker, and he said, well, we're getting ready to play Tampa last year at our place, and Baker came early and knocked on the door and wanted to say hello to the equipment guys and the trainers, and he's got a personality to him, and he's a leader type, which was Jake's point about him, and does all the little things to be the guy in charge. And all the stuff he did when he first came out and the commercials before he was good and all that was probably the biggest mistake he made. But he was humbled, and then his competitive spirit saved him, which for a lot of guys, if they had to go down the road, he was bouncing around to Carolina, out to the West Coast, having to settle for a lousy deal, maybe backup money almost. They would have fallen apart and not been able to compete. But I'm glad Baker's on the list. And when you look at the Tampa Bay Bucks, there's a reason they keep winning division titles without Tom Brady, and he's a big, big part of it. I wish he didn't run as much, but he actually is starting to run even more. So, and when he takes a hit, it's a big-time blow-up.
Right, because he tries to deliver the hit as much as he's getting hit half the time, which is not the right move to make. But Wirfs, we were talking about the offensive lines and the rankings, and Pat, I specifically remember you saying, I like their starting 5, but they don't have any depth. Now Wirfs is going to probably be out for the first 4. How big is that in your estimation?
That's a gigantic problem for them. Talked to Ira Kaufman about it. He's there all the time with them, but they have no backups with experience. So Charlie Heck is going to be the first guy to get a shot at this. Charlie played 86 plays last year in the NFL. So is he ready to be the left tackle on a team that wants to throw to all those great receivers they have? No, he's not. That's the value of doing these rooms one at a time. The starting 5 for Tampa Bay got a high grade from me. They're terrific. But with no backups, their grade fell off from elite because of that. And we now have a situation. I would have thought it was going to be a month of the regular season without him. I don't think it's going to jeopardize their chance to win the division, but I don't think it's going to help them. Ira's started to say, well, it'd be okay if we went 2-2. I think we're starting to settle for reality of what is going to happen without Wirfs over there. Wirfs played 1,070 plays last year, and he's rarely penalized. So, yeah, it's a major blow to them, and I wouldn't say there's a lot of guys out there that I would go get But they ought to get an older veteran in there just because Heck could have a problem. Now, you know what Jim Miller says? He thinks Graham Barton should go to tackle. He was a good tackle in college as well as a center and a guard. And he goes, that guy could handle it.
Well,
just like Tooney could.
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go. You have been harping for weeks that a team should sign Brandon Scherf, who's only 33. But like, if you're the Bucks, why don't you sign Scherf, plug him in the middle somewhere, and move that guard out to tackle and keep the backup tackle a backup swing tackle? Because, I mean, he's not ready, obviously, to play left tackle, never mind right tackle. I mean, wouldn't they be better off moving a guard out to tackle for 4 weeks, playing Scherf inside, and then when Wirfs is ready to come back, now your offensive line has more depth because you've signed Scherf?
Absolutely. I don't think it's a problem to do it. I would do it. I think they know that they're expect to win, realistically expect to win the division and be in the postseason. I think that they have a team that's got incredible receiver core, and you want to throw the ball 35, 40 times. You have to do it. And then you look at which guy am I moving out, which was Jim's point. We spent a lot of time with Graham Barton, and I kind of agree with Jim. He's the guy that could go out there. And another reason I would send him out there, he's very talented. He can handle it, is that the quarterback's a veteran. You could get by with handling the center thing because Baker will handle the center. And if you have Sheriff next to whoever the center is, you're going to be in very good shape. So the more I think about Jim's idea, the more I like it, considering the situation. Of course, Ira said, no way, they can't do that. They need to no. The center is a great center. He's going to be an all-pro for a long time. But for 4 weeks and the talent he has as a former tackle, I would send him out there.
It's important to remember the Bucks open at Atlanta, at Houston, home for the Jets, home for the Eagles. Okay, there's a lot of, I mean, Atlanta just revamped their whole pass rush. Okay, Houston, the Jets, the Eagles, they can all get after the passer.
Yeah, Houston right now we're finishing up the pass rush units today, and Houston's ranked number 1 of our room grading system.
So that's what Tampa has to look forward to in the first 4 games without their left tackle. Pat, I brought it up before we were on air, and I want you to give the answer to everyone because I've been fascinated by this quarterback show. They did a great job of the 3 guys on it showing what a play call's like. And then I listened to an interview with Trevor Lawrence later in the day and heard him talk about, the different coaches, the fact that he didn't call plays in college, the fact that he wasn't under center, the fact that he clapped for the ball being snapped and didn't use any cadence. Just how difficult has it been for Lawrence? And can this year be any different? The learning curve at this point should be over to me. But the fact that he's had all the coordinators and coaches over his first 3 years, now another coach, this is a big year for Trevor Lawrence. Is he ready?
He's going to have to be ready. Well, he's in a nice small city. We talk about this a lot, the 3 of us, but they love him down there, and they're not going to jump on him like if he was in New York. So he's gotten a little more breathing time. Look, the first year, everyone used the excuse of the college coach who had him. That experiment went away fast. But so he wasted the first year. Here's the thing I said to you before, Mark. If you're going to take these college kids that are from the no-huddle world and all that stuff, then don't play them as rookies because they're so far away from being ready. Take the guy, if you're going to do it, take the Jaden Daniels types that have been in systems where they kind of play pro football in college. But if you expect those kids that have never been – look, I go to the Senior Bowl. It's unbelievable. Getting under center, if a guy takes the snap without fumbling, we start clapping. It's like, hooray. He took one without a fumble. So they're not ready. And then the mental part of it, and so they go from a no language system where they hold out a number or a card up and they read their wristband to a system that's, for a lot of teams, way too wordy. I liked Ron Earhart the best. It was not wordy and it was easy to learn. But all these other guys, the John Gruden world and everyone who comes from that, they want to call every route. They want to do all of it. Then they want you to check at the line of scrimmage. Jim and I talked about, Caleb, and some of the things we saw, even with Justin Fields, Justin Fields reminds me of the most of what's inappropriate. Justin Fields gets under center from Ohio State. He's at the Bears. They put him on the field. The very first play of his first game, they go empty.
More with Pat Kirwan on the other side. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Those hard breaks are an SOB.
Yeah, I do whatever you want. You can stop me in the middle of a sentence. I don't care.
I know. I
What do you think they do on my show every day?
I know. I laugh. I laugh. Nothing makes me laugh harder than when Jim says we got to go to a break and you just start talking. Like, no, I'm not done yet, Jim. I'll go to break when I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. No one wants to hear the break anyway, is what I always say. And I've told guys, I go, look, there's enough technology out there. If we're in the middle of an incredible interview and someone's really starting to pour out his heart to us, switch the button so he thinks we're still on the air. Go do your commercial and let me keep talking to the guy. There's nothing dumber than saying, well, we got to go. We got to sell Viagra. Sorry about that.
We had one of those. We were at the Shark Shootout or whatever they call it, and we had Berman on. And Berman was great that day. We've had him on a bunch, but he was great. We got into talking about the Earthquake World Series, and he covered it. And we blew through the 45 break, the top of the hour break. Yeah. We went like 50 minutes without a commercial with him. And it's like, what are you going to do? Cut off Chris Berman for crying out loud? We're just going to let this go. We'll make up the commercials later.
Yeah. It's funny. They were having a conversation the other day. NFL Today is going on the road a lot more. I told you, I think we're going out 3 times in the first 6 weeks. But Bill Cowher, he made a great point. I hope they listened. He said, look, an hour before the game or 45 minutes before the game, pile a bunch of commercials in and have none in the last half hour and let us really get into this game. And whether you can't do it that way or not, but don't figure out how to get a 20-minute, at the minimum, full stream of us talking about the game at the end. Because people will turn the channel off as soon as you go to commercial and flip over to ESPN or somewhere else. So they were listening. They actually said, well, we got to talk about how to do most of that. So, they always like to tell you it's hard. It's not that hard.
I mean, what David, you know this, what channel doing golf has done a lot of like the last, is it NBC that does it?
Well,
They did the last hour commercial free or whatever.
It began a decade ago with Fox, where Fox made a deal with Rolex, and Rolex sponsored the final hour of the U.S. Open commercial free. And so now Rolex, all the USGA stuff's on NBC. So that's what Rolex does. The final hour of the British Open, the players and what have you, they will, if Rolex is a part of the sponsorship package, they do the final hour commercial free.
Yeah. Well, we need that.
Totally. Listen, soccer makes plenty of money, and they have to go 45 minutes minimum uninterrupted. And they get banner ads, and they sell their ads. Everybody seems happy. If you can make money on soccer, you can figure out how to do it in other sports.
Yep. And we should stop listening to the guy who sells the ad time. That's his job. Sell the ad time and then go away.
Right. We'll program the show. You do the sales.
Yeah. And those guys like to stick their nose in the middle of it.
Yes, they do. Well, because
that's on management because they allow that to happen. I mean, that happens in radio at the local. That happens at every level where sales determines programming instead of the other way around.
Yeah, because I think those guys, personally, the ones I know, I think they promise these guys stuff they can't deliver.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But also, as years have gone on, sales has become more important than programming. So that's why we get dictated to, where 30, 40 years ago, we did the dictating.
Yeah. Well, conventional television's going away soon, so they ought to pay attention to why.
Well, the future of network television is in the hands of the NFL.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Pat Kirwan for the remaining 10 minutes of time. Pat and his co-host Jim Miller host Moving the Chains weekdays 3 to 7 on NFL Radio. Now in about a week and a half, their schedule's going to get a little crazy. They're going to be touring the country for a month, training camp tours. So you're going to have to pay attention. Pat's also part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat's appearances on Miller and Moulton brought to you by Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All right, can we just tackle some of the money that's been thrown around here recently? The Jets with back-to-back signings. This is very un-Jets-like, locking down recent first-round picks who are good young players. First, Garrett Wilson, $32.5 million a year for 4 years, the wide receiver. Yesterday, Sauce Gardner, highest paid corner in the league, a little over $30 million a year, 3/4 of both contracts fully guaranteed. You know the Jets very well. Your thoughts, and the Jets have Quinnen Williams locked up for 2 more years at significant money. Your thoughts on what the Jets have done here?
Well, they're not letting their good players out the door, which is a good thing. And they understand the market. I feel bad for the guy who drafted these kids. These are pretty good players, but the guy who drafted them got fired. So, you sit back and you watch your good young players when they succeed, even if you're out of work, looking back at the job you did, you get some level of satisfaction and pleasure out of, hey, you know what? I was right about Garrett. I was right about Sauce. And so all that stuff's a little bit of what goes on in your mind when you leave there, like I did, and you look back at the good ones that blossom just like this. That'll be prideful, and it may even come up in a job interview for the guy who wants to get back in the league. That's the first thing. Second thing is they know, and they knew what these guys were, and they also know they're not a good football team. They didn't wait around and get yourselves in a position of franchise tags and anger and public display displeasure, if you will. They got it smoothly done without people. They'll almost not even give it full credit for what they did. But for me, in a city like New York, the last thing you want to do is have people going, look at the Jets. They can't even keep their good young players. They got it done. They knew it was important, and it gave value to the club above and beyond the contract itself. So smart by them. I feel a little bit like they're kind of learning, but we all know that their biggest risk is at quarterback. So how much are you going to get out of Garrett with Justin throwing? You tell me, David.
Well, he had Zach Wilson throwing to him, and with all due respect, Pat, okay, Zach Wilson might be the worst NFL quarterback I've seen in 15 years. There's no way Justin Fields is worse than Zach Wilson.
Be careful.
Okay.
All right, the other side of this is McLaurin still doesn't have a contract in Washington. Is his price going up substantially by what happened in New York? What are you hearing there? I know you're pretty tight with the Washington team. This is something to David and I, we think not only is he a really good receiver, but he's the glue of the team as a leadership standpoint. They've got to get this done soon, right?
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to get done this week, during the week, but I'd look more to the weekend that they might get something done right before the camp starts, number one. Number two, I have voiced my opinion on the deal. He's going to get, and it deserves more money than Garrett Wilson. To me, he's going to get $1 over Metcalf's deal. When you look at McLaurin, besides the subjective stuff, if you will, the team leader, I agree with. Sooner or later, it'll be the quarterback, but he is that guy. But just look at what he's done. So if his deal comes in less than $33.1 million a year, he gave them a bargain. I heard that they were at 28. That was going nowhere. So right above Metcalf's deal is the right spot. It doesn't jeopardize CeeDee Lamb and 2 or 3 of the other guys that have every right to the top spots. But 33.1 is the right number. This guy's averaged 126 targets a year for his 6-year career. 126 average. And there's been some shaky quarterbacks walking around that place. He's averaged 77 receptions. He averages 50 first downs a year. 50 times he moves the chains with a reception, and it's almost 14 yards a catch. And he's 29 years old. So what if receivers can play into their 30s if they take care of themselves like Terry? So you want a new stadium? You have overnight, between Dan Quinn and the new owner, changed the perception of the Commanders in your own city. Don't go backwards now. And your young quarterback, if you think, it's all about him now, call C.J. Stroud and see how the second year went. Don't forget the defenses are looking for you. So he needs Terry McLaurin. They know it. They're going to pay him, and it's going to be $33.1 million a year.
Chiefs were very active this offseason on their offensive line. They do a deal with Trey Smith, make him the highest paid guard in the league yesterday, $23 million a year for 4 years. He's 26 years old. They guarantee basically 3 of the 4 years on the deal. So 2 new tackles. They give Trey Smith the money. They trade out Tooney. Do you like this?
Yeah, a couple things about Trey Smith's deal. First off, they did Creed Humphrey, his best friend, last year. Between the two of them, there's $120 million guaranteed for a center and a guard, and on a team where the tackles are terrible. So how good can they be for a quarterback that's a maverick, right? He's all over the place, and he's going to jeopardize himself because the tackle play is so poor. So we may not remember how great Smith, who was in his first Pro Bowl, I think. So here's what I'd say about the deal. The irony, the funny part of this deal, Mark, is like the franchise tag was $23.4 million. And his new deal, yeah, I know he's the highest paid guard, but his new deal is $23.5. Like he basically took 3 guaranteed years of franchise money, which is going to go up. So often when you see a deal off a franchise tag negotiation, it averages above the franchise tag number. This one basically came in right at the franchise tag. Never found that kind of interesting. But yeah, I like Trey Smith a lot. This is a guy that would have been drafted higher, but he had a medical history. And then he went to the Senior Bowl and had a phenomenal week, and everyone forgot about the medical, and he has not really missed a game. So they're paying the right guys, but I don't know, 120 million for your inside two, and the best of the three you traded away, Joe Tooney, which they probably thought we can't afford the three of them, but with those tackles, I want a refund from the tackles.
How much does that put that division in play? The tackle play of the Chiefs, and we know last year a lot of close games they won. Things seem to go right for them all season long. When you look at that division and you look at the Chargers and you look at the Broncos and the Raiders to a lesser extent, how much is that division in play in your opinion?
I do think that the division has closed in on them. That doesn't mean they've surpassed it yet, but if you ask me to bet on which team I think will get them first, I'd bet on Denver. I like the Chargers, but I think Denver is closer. Their defense, the more I do and work on their defense, the more I like everything they do on defense. And I think that's the key to playing those guys. And they'll get their points with Sean Payton and Bo Nix and all that. And I'm as shocked as probably you guys about Bo Nix, but Sean's the right kind of guy. I like their roster. I like a lot of things about the offensive line. I like the defense in total. So I think those are the guys leading the way. But I do think all three teams have taken a step towards the Chiefs.
Well, don't you think with the Broncos, it's just a matchup thing? We've got 30 seconds, but they've got two pass rushing ends. The Chiefs don't have tackles. Don't you think the Broncos just match up better?
Yes, I do. And I think that could be, the whole division can present pass rush problems for the quarterback. There's elite pass rushers, not that Mac's still an elite guy, but he's still productive. Crosby's a real good rusher. So there are rushers, and those guys got to handle it. And you can't keep asking Mahomes to take a beating physically, which is what happens.
Pat, we know you're not traveling for another week, so enjoy your time. Thanks for joining us as always, and we'll talk next week.
Take care, guys. Thank you very much.
Pat
Get
Kirwan.
to Saratoga before your camp.
I went last weekend. I was there all weekend.
Attaboy. That's what I like to hear.
Saw that old jet coach.
Pat Kirwan, moving the chains on NFL radio weekdays 3 to 7. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, you can't fake fresh. Seth Everett's next.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Hello, Seth.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I told David, but you saw my buddy got the Devils play-by-play job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got invited to a party to celebrate.
Good for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was stunned what they did in St. Louis. I actually know the guy that's doing the simulcast. I used to work.
I know it's.
He worked in the ECHL when I was in it. Chris Kerber. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
Man, that puts him in a horrible spot. Because the whole fan base is super pissed, and they're going to dump on him, and he had nothing to do with the decision, if you know what I mean.
The Islanders did worse. They're not even doing a simulcast. They just dumped their radio. Hockey on radio is hard, and I get it, but they're punting on it. It's clear, like they've all made a statement, and the Devils don't have a radio deal. They have an internet deal, which I can't see carrying on. But this is the TV. This was,
Right.
And the guy he replaced was my student.
Oh wow!
I'm not happy for him. I'm disappointed for him. But my buddy Don is. I've been friends with him for 20 years. I like when good things happen to good people.
I agree with that. Did you watch last night at all?
I couldn't. I was busy. I finished Sports with Friends. I didn't even think about it. I hung out with my kids a little bit, and then I had to record Hall of Justice at 10 o'clock last night.
Is that when you had your guest obviously available?
Yeah, it was the only time he could do, and I respect people's time.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when you're doing what you do and you're wanting guests to do a show. Yeah. It's like, hey, I've got to, we don't do it often, but like when we did Radio Row at the Super Bowl, and you get somebody, if it's not during your show, whenever you can be, we were there for 10, 12 hours a day. Because
my thing on the All-Star game, it wasn't like I was boycotting it. It never crossed my mind. From what I hear, I would have been annoyed anyway. So.
Why? Actually, I totally disagree. Unless you just honestly, if you just feel like shitting on the sport, I thought it was a tremendous product. Honestly, the technology that they took advantage of was great. Okay, they treated it like what it is. They treated it like an entertaining exhibition. Okay, and I mean there were 4 big innings there are 5 big innings in the 4 big innings in the game.
Okay.
I'm
not fighting. I don't have
no, I know. I'm just saying. I actually thought baseball had a really good night last night.
Interesting.
I did too.
Social media was very. Again, all I saw was social media because I was busy doing something else, and I saw it, and all I heard were people crapping on it.
Well, I'm curious. Now, I heard people crapping on ESPN's coverage of the home run derby. Okay, there was a little bit of crapping that I saw early. They were blaming Fox's announcers for Skubal giving up the 2 runs because he was distracted. Okay, but otherwise, I actually thought that social media was far more positive than negative last night.
That's fine. Did you see what my tweet was?
Yes, I did.
Does home field advantage come
to the World Series? Now, see, that's snarky. That's funny.
That's funny, right?
Yes, that was you. That's funny though. That's kind of like, hey, you had a good night. Good for you.
Good for you.
The old Richard Pryor routine about Ali. Hey, that was cute. Take this jab with you. Right? Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was you. I saw that and said, that's my guy right there. By the way, we had a transition earlier in the show that was really good. And Mark goes, look at that. You don't have to go to Syracuse. And I go, yeah, Andrew Catalan, you take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe. They want you to stop by this week for a few reasons. First off, this is the big week. This starts their 2.5-year effort to get Shoeless Joe into the Hall of Fame. They have an online petition at shoeless-joes.com. Go to it. You could win free wings and a beer for a year just by taking part. Specials all this week: hot dog and fries, $5. Bud and Bud Light pints on special. If your kid goes to Shoeless Joe's, hopefully with you today or tonight in their softball or baseball jersey, they eat for free. Shoeless Joe's at the Doubletree, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Tell Fritz and the gang that Miller and Moulton sent you. Seth Everett, our buddy, over 15 years, a regular on Miller and Moulton, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, his 2 tremendously successful podcasts, which is remarkable in and of itself. Follow Seth on X at Seth_Everett. Seth_Everett. Hey, you chuckled when I said tremendously successful. A, the one podcast has been going for over a decade. B, the other one's on 7 years. And C, you have legitimate corporate sponsors. Okay? Give yourself a little bit of credit there, big fella.
Right on. It's no, what I was thinking while you were reading that was, what an interesting vine to die on for your guy Fritz. I'm so interested in the Shoeless Joe method, and I would love to talk to him and understand how he came up with the idea that getting Shoeless Joe Jackson into the Hall of Fame is a vine he wants to die on. That's an interesting play.
I don't know if it's a vine he wants to die on as much as it is a tremendous marketing ploy.
Okay.
Because this morning when I woke up, one of the segments we do on our show every day, Seth, at the end is, and you did the show with me, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
And I look at a bunch of different news sites to find those stories. And I always go to
The Ugly?
No, I always go to our local site. And I'll be damned if one of the local TV stations didn't have a story on that on their news. So for that and that alone, the free
it's worth it. Okay.
that they got, I don't care if it's a vine he wants to die on at all. I think he's dying on the $5 hot dog vine, which is a hell of a vine to die on National Hot Dog Day.
Yeah, National Hot Dog Day, by the way. When's the last time you had one? That's our poll question.
Today's National Hot Dog Day?
Today's National Hot Dog Day. When's the last time you had a hot dog?
When was the last time I had a hot dog?
Options,
probably,
by the way, last week, in the last month, in the last year.
Not in this season. We haven't done hot dogs. We grill a lot, though, but we have not done hot dogs. We've done a lot of chicken, a lot of kebabs, and a lot of burgers.
So you're saying not in 2025?
Yeah, but not. I'm not avoiding hot dogs. I
got you. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, we're still crazy about you. Still keep you on the show. We're just, that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
But I can put ketchup on it.
Don't start.
Now we may have to.
Are we sure we want to continue this every week?
Yeah, this is.
Are you sure we want to?
It was literally just. It was right out there. I know. A little line drive right there.
I'm aware, and I do want to come back at you with this, Seth, because our relationship began because you were in baseball. You are our baseball insider. That's literally how we referred to you on the show. Our baseball insider, Seth Everett, joins us now. We don't use that anymore. Take your European sports out of this question. What's your favorite sport in this country right now? I know what I think it is. And then what's second? Because you have become a huge Arsenal fan. That's your thing. I'll give you that. But what's your favorite American sport? And then what's number 2?
It has to be hockey. Hockey easily. I would probably say American football would be 2. Because American football is the only sport that I can watch anybody play. Hockey too, but as I enter this middle-aged chapter of my life, what I've decided is I dedicate my time to my teams, and that's it. So what I used to do in my 20s and 30s is I'd watch everything. And it was a very different mentality. And now I just, if it's not involving my teams, there's a good chance I'm not seeing it, except for the NFL. I'll watch Sundays, and I really watched that Red Zone because I fell in love with it about 4 or 5 years ago when it came to Hulu. That Red Zone is intoxicating, and the visuals of it are so stimulating. I can watch that for 8 hours and not move a muscle. That is a phenomenal thing. And it's what I find is at the end of the red zone, I'm tapped out on football, and I don't see Sunday night football or Monday night football as much as I used to.
I don't know if you're alone on that. I mean, Sunday Night Football is still the number one primetime show in America, but
I'm not against that.
There are a lot of people, because especially like on our show, we have a lot of college football fans, and I could see by 8:00 on Sunday night, you're like, I've seen a lot of football, and also I think it affects Monday. Okay, like if the Sunday night game really grabs them, and usually it is a very good matchup, then by Monday even they're like, hey man, I've had a lot of football.
While we're on the subject of college football, I will tell you that I am right now slated to see one college football game in person. It's a Friday night, Halloween night, North Carolina at Syracuse, Bill Belichick at the Dome.
There you go. What hoodie will he wear? That really is the only important question.
I'm going to sit next to the girlfriend.
Oh, are you?
You don't think she's actually going to go on the road with him, do you?
No, but I remember when Billy Joel played the Carrier Dome, my buddy left his notebook in the WAER booth because the rumor was Christy Brinkley was going to be staying there. And so he got in and got his notebook and got to meet Christy Brinkley. So I see a similar scenario.
Oh, look at that. Okay, plotting. Okay, I do like that. Hey, we made a big deal yesterday out of the NHL, which obviously we're big fans of as well. And we think they are just totally dumping on the Florida Panthers by having their season opener be at 5:00 on the opening day /night. I mean, come on.
Part of their national TV deal, and they were going to have one early, one late, and one prime time
but come on, you can't put the Panthers on at 5. Listen, I'm a Rangers fan. I'm tired of I love Sidney Crosby. Tired of the damn
Rangers Penguins is the prime time game. Yeah,
enough already. Like Mark pointed
out, my television won't see that.
Well, I know that, but it's two teams who didn't make the playoffs. I mean, don't you have to show a little regard and respect? The NBA would not do this to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The
NFL wouldn't do it either.
I mean, come on, at some point, don't you have to say, I know you guys aren't great for ratings, but you have gone to 3 straight finals and hoisted Lord Stanley the last 2 years. You do get the 8:00 season opener, and we'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, if you switched it and put the Rangers at 5:00, I'd have been fine with that.
Yes,
totally. If you have to have a game at 5:00, put the 2 non-playoff teams in there. Yeah, that's fine. It's funny. The schedule gets announced at 1:00, and I'm genuinely interested in that.
Because you live for your Devils, and you're trying to plan out
when we're going and what we're doing, and when's opening night, and all that stuff.
So on that note, Seth, I read an article earlier this week that basically said to hockey fan, hey, it's about time that you admit what a good job Gary Bettman's done for the league. And pointed out a lot that Bettman's done that should be regarded as positive. But there are TV deals coming up here. And with the ratings being as poor as they are, and the ratings don't matter for the NBA. They don't. Their social media presence is at such a high level that
they're launching a streaming service, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that.
The NBA?
The NBA is launching a streaming service. They're going to take the rights that they have, the local rights that they have, and kind of do like an MLB.TV kind of thing.
All right. What does Bettman have to do in finishing out his tenure? How important is this next TV deal to Bettman's legacy with the NHL?
I think Bettman's legacy is solidified. He's reinvented the sport, and I thought that from a commissioner standpoint, he's the only commissioner they've ever had. And in the previous, they had league presidents. They never had a commissioner. He's taken the sport into another stratosphere. My guess is he's going to be at the forefront of this RSN debacle that we've talked about in the past, about trying to get all the RSNs in-house and trying to do that. I think there'll be less consternation with the hockey teams, and I think there's a chance he gets all the hockey teams on deal. I think it'll be a deal similar to the NBA's deal, where it's 2 broadcast partners and a streaming partner. I could see them keeping TNT because they really like TNT. They love ESPN as well, and I could see them adding a third partner. Amazon has a deal with the NHL in Canada, so you could see that there's a partnership potentially there. I could see that going on. I just think Bettman, first of all, I'm shocked he's still there. The guy who's wanted to retire for about 10 years. I'm just, wondering what his I think his legacy is solid. Does Bill Daley automatically get the gig? Is that he's been the commissioner in waiting since the turn of the century? So I would imagine that's probably where hockey goes. But I think hockey's in a good place.
Bettman's been the commissioner 32 years.
32 years.
It's funny because I've never heard him publicly indicate he's looking forward to doing something else. So you know him a little bit. So you think he's wanted to be done? Because, then why can't he be done? There's got to be somebody else out there who's qualified to be commissioner.
He's scaling back. I think what he's been doing, now he has the place in Boca, and he's down there in Florida. He's playing a lot of golf. He's doing a lot of stuff. I think he's in a good position. I think he's ready for the next. I don't think he'll be bored. My favorite Gary Bettman story is in the 2012 Stanley Cup Finals, when he invited me into his suite, and Bob Costas is there because NBC had the games. And me and Bob Costas get into a huge interleague fight, and Bettman yells at both of us, and he says, "Could you pretend to watch this sport a little?" And he goes to me, and he goes, "And you, this is your stinking team."
Good for him.
Yeah.
Not so much for scolding you, but for being able to scold Bob Costas. Something all of us, I think, would like to do once in a while.
or at least
give him pink
once.
eye, right?
Right. That is for sure. Could he please not give Atlanta a third shot? Please. Please.
I know, right?
Please. Okay, you have a little sway with him. Could you just say, listen, okay,
By
not
the way,
no.
it got overshadowed by the All-Star game, but Adam Silver did a interview yesterday and kind of poo-pooed expansion.
Well, he has said the same thing a couple times. So he has said, listen, our pie is our pie. And these two new teams that everybody wants, tell me what they're adding to the pie.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we can debate Seattle, Vegas. I don't know of another city, by the way, that even gets mentioned besides those two for NBA expansion. But you tell us, we had the debate 7-8 years ago about the NHL in Vegas. I was really for it. I thought it would add to the league. Okay, there were a lot of people that thought, nobody's going to go except, they're going to try to give away free tickets from the casinos. And we'll see if the same thing happens for baseball. But, you have your love of Seattle. But if you could be objective for 30 seconds, okay, what would Seattle or Vegas add to the NBA pie?
Well, Seattle would add legacy, because all they want to do is, have more statues and retired numbers, and they want to have Gary Payton night and Sean Kemp night and all that stuff, and that adds gravitas to the sport. I think
what Silver's talking about though, Seth, is money.
No, I know, I understand. I understand. I mean, if it's a successful franchise, it adds money, and the owners are going to get that expansion fee, which they want.
That's the key to me. Whatever Silver says is what he says. When you're talking about the billions of dollars it costs for an expansion fee, that goes right into the owner's pockets.
That's right. It's not a net negative.
He made it sound yesterday like it may be a net neutral, though, and he doesn't know if he's on board. I think he'll get outvoted. All right, you got a minute or so. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice.
We're talking about the WNBA. Their All-Star game is this weekend. Dr. Tawana Smith is my guest. She was on the podcast like 8 years ago. She talks a lot about athletes who go abroad to play in other countries during the offseason. And we got into a whole WNBA conversation. And we have a very serious, frank conversation on the Caitlin Clark effect and whether or not when she gets hurt, the ratings tank. Is this sport sustainable? It's a huge WNBA conversation that I find very, very fascinating this week on Sports with Friends. And on Hall of Justice, it's pretty easy. It's Superman, which I can say this. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie. And there are lots of questions and issues with it. So it's a good podcast because you don't want it to be just a gush fest, and it's far from it.
There you go. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. By the way, with Caitlin Clark hurt again, her status for the three-point shooting contest and the All-Star game this weekend are very much in doubt.
In doubt.
And it will probably have a big effect on the ratings, so that is worth paying attention to. Seth, all the best. Thanks for your time. Seth_Everett is how you follow him on X. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ryan, I did not see Superman. I will not see Superman, but yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed about Superman. A couple of people who agree with you. They thought it was awful. I've heard a lot of it was okay, but it had issues. you know, Seth, in a way, was the most positive that I had heard. He thought it was good, but it had issues. So, now, I mean, Moss, do brats count? On National Hot Dog Day, do you consider brats as counting? Because I don't think of a brat the same way I think of a hot dog. Right, I'm with you. Yeah, listen, Mike was great for a long time, but Mike needed to retire the first time he retired. I thought his timing there was perfect. He had lost his fastball. It was time. And he retired, and I thought it was perfect. And he stayed retired 6 months. And I think he's a caricature now. A legend, but a caricature. No, not Nike. Mike. I'm talking about Mike Francesa.
I need to bring a thermometer with me just to figure out how much warmer this room is than any other part of this building. I was just talking to Gina next door for half a second, and I usually try to stay for 4 hours and not get up. Like, I try not to leave.
Right.
It is so much cooler. I walked in here, I'm like, good God, is it hot in here? And I like to swill coffee during the show. Makes it even hotter.
Well, is it A, the heat from the equipment, and or B, does the air just not come through the vents in that room?
There's one AC thing, and I don't get a lot out of it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this hump day. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. This portion of the show brought to you by Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, inside the Doubletree Hotel, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. If your kid and you head to the restaurant today and tonight, and your kid is wearing their baseball or softball jersey, they eat for free. Special all week long through the weekend. Hot dog and fries, $5. Specials on Bud and Bud Light pints. Make sure you go to shoeless-joes.com. Sign the online petition to get Shoeless Joe into the Hall of Fame. And you could win free wings and beer for a year. Shoeless-joes.com. If you go to Shoeless Joe's, say hi to Fritz and tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
All right. I don't know if you even realized it, but I believe a controversy was just created in the chat room.
Okay.
Robes, who you know.
Yeah.
Because one of our poll questions today is, when's the last time you've had a hot dog? It's National Hot Dog Day.
Right.
Good to see that 88% of you have had a hot dog in the last year. 12% of you don't do dogs. And Robes asked, I went to the county fair last weekend. Does a corn dog count? And I love a corn dog. I do. But is a corn dog a hot dog? I mean,
well, earlier in the Twitch chat room, someone said, do brats count? And I argued no.
No, a bratwurst is not a hot dog. It's a sausage. It's delicious. I love a bratwurst. Had two the other day. They were both amazing. But no, a bratwurst is not a hot dog.
Now, is a corn dog, like you and I believe a bratwurst is different enough that it doesn't qualify. Is a corn dog different enough so that it doesn't qualify as even a poor man's hot dog?
Well, poor man, rich man, to me is a bit irrelevant. The hardest part about this is what's in the middle of the corn dog? A hot dog. Not a brat, not a different kind of sausage.
Right.
It's a hot dog.
Right.
Wrapped in cornmeal and fried. Heavenly. It really isn't, but I like them.
I mean, isn't that a hot dog?
Right.
I mean, it's a different kind of hot dog, but it's
a
a hot
different
dog.
kind of hot dog.
Yeah, I think it counts.
I mean, when you're wrapping a hot dog in something, hence the name hot dog, I would have to say that a corn dog counts.
Well,
I don't like saying it, but what other category would you put it in?
I guess some would argue that a corn dog deserves its own category. I don't see how it can. It's a hot dog that's wrapped in something. Okay. And as Puck Virtue just said in our Twitch chat room, if you ate a corn dog, you cannot say, I did not eat a hot dog.
Right. And, as Ryan is saying, a bun is necessary for a hot dog. Well, the bun on a corn dog is just a different kind of bun. You go to the old Montreal Forum, had a great hot dog. It was a grilled bun. That's very different than a New York street dog. Still a hot dog. A Chicago dog has a ton of stuff on it. It's still a hot dog and delicious, by the way. I'm a fan of the Chicago dog. It's the beef Vienna in the casing, so it's got that snap to it. In Michigan, we had the pork dog in the casing that I'm a big fan of. The New York dog doesn't have that snap casing. It's not part of their thing.
Right.
All still hot dogs. You all have your personal preference. But 21,000's the text line. Tell me I'm wrong. A corn dog is a hot dog. What's in a corn dog? A hot dog. It's very different. A peanut's not a nut, but still called a peanut.
Yeah, I don't know how it's not a nut. I got to be honest, but
because nuts come off of trees and peanuts a bean.
It looks like one. It has the texture of one. It's in its name, but I'd argue it. Apparently I'd lose. I'd lose on a technicality, but I get it. But I'd argue the other side.
So that is a hell of a question you proposed 3 hours into this show. You sent me off on a complete tangent because I had a follow-up I wanted to get to. This follow-up stems from the U.S. Open. Wyndham Clark.
Oh, yes.
Bashed the locker room around, destroyed 2 lockers. Not the first time he's made an ass of himself after a round of golf. He's got a bad temper. He has admitted so. Oakmont doesn't care. They banned him.
And they haven't opened in like 9-10 years. They're on the rotation.
Right.
Okay. And that to me will be fascinating. If he's eligible, because off the top of my head, Wyndham Clark's what, early 30s?
I believe so.
I mean, would Oakmont truly say to the USGA, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He can't play here. He's banned from our course.
He has a road to redemption. To lift the ban, of course, it's going to take some money. I mean, this is very Catholic Church of Oakmont. Donate to a charity. That's rich. Pay for damages. Those 2 are easy. He can do those without having to go anywhere. That's just writing a check for a guy that's got money. But they are forcing him to get the ban lifted to attend anger management classes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Interesting.
Right. Now, he publicly apologized the next week. It fell on deaf ears to me.
Well, I'm with you because he's done this before. He's
Right.
trashed things before, and every single time he goes, "I'm sorry, I'll be a better man," and what have you. No, no, you're still trashing things. You're damaging property that's not your own.
By the way, here's his apology. I've had a lot of highs and lows in my career, especially this year, some lows. I made a mistake that I deeply regret. I'm very sorry for what happened, but I'd also like to move on, not only for myself, but for Oakmont, for the USGA, and kind of focus on the rest of the year and things that come up. I still want to make the Ryder Cup team. I'm still outside looking for a FedEx Cup. So I'm starting to move on and focus on other things. That's one of the lamest apologies I've ever seen.
Well, also,
I want to move on, not only for me, but for Oakmont. For Oakmont?
Well,
you're the one that destroyed the damn locker, dude. They can hold a grudge as long as they want.
So there's 4 agendas in that apology. One's the apology, and then there's 3 other agendas that are all about Wyndham Clark. Okay, enough already. By the way, I was hoping Oakmont wouldn't offer him a way back in. I was hoping that 8, 9, 10 years from now, when the U.S. Open returns to Oakmont, that Oakmont just looked at the USGA and said, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He can't play here. We won't let him on the grounds. We've done the same thing to Charlie down the street. He did such and such at the club championship 3 years ago. We kicked him out. He can't be here anymore." I wish they would do that. I'd love, if he doesn't attend anger management, which I don't believe he ever has. If he doesn't attend anger management, I would love 9, 10 years from now him to be eligible for the U.S. Open and see what Oakmont does.
You think they'd back down? Because the USGA would put a lot of pressure on them to let him play. And I think Oakmont might look him dead in the eyes and say, "I don't know what to tell you. He's not allowed in our club. He's been trespassed. If he walks on our grounds, he will be arrested."
Here's what I think will happen. They'll just force him to write a bigger check. You wait. You wait. He'll end up sponsoring something at Oakmont. Okay. A scholarship for young golfers.
I think he'll do the anger management classes. I really do. I think he needs to have a happy ending here. And I don't mean the kind that Robert Kraft likes. I think he actually needs to do the right thing here. But we'll see. But I did think it was interesting that Oakmont banned him, and it just wasn't money. They are at least trying to make him do something to earn his way back to that club.
Hey, I know you didn't watch the whole All-Star game, but you watched a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
There's one thing that happened last night that we did not talk about. You know, they used that ABS system 5 times, and they overturned 4 ball strike calls. All 4 calls, by the way, benefited the pitcher. They were pitches that were called balls that ended up being called strikes, except for the one that wasn't overturned, and that was actually called the strike. And the hitter argued he didn't go too far with the check swing, and the video was, no, he did. And, I mean, we didn't have anybody, by the way, I don't know about the text line. Nobody in the Twitch chat room commented all day, Twitch and YouTube, about the ABS system at all. That tells me it worked great.
Exactly. When do we hear it? If something doesn't work, we would have been flooded with it. We had some people complain about the All-Star game and the swing off and things of that nature. David and I, for the record, loved the swing off. David, I thought, and David came up with our poll question today, what gimmicky way should you end a game? Runner on second or a swing off. And right now, the runner on second's killing it at 71%. But what David and I both agreed upon before the show is we'd go NHL with this. The runner on seconds are 3-on-3 overtime, and the swing off is our shootout. I would only do the 10th inning. David would do the 10th and 11th. But regardless of whether it's 1 inning or 2 innings, because I don't believe that many extra inning games even get to 11. That's my only thinking there. You know, they don't go that far anymore with the new rules. But I had no problem with the swing off, and if they wanted to implement it to end regular season games, why not? Whether they do it with one guy or like they did last night where 3 guys get a crack at it.
So, by the way, that was negotiated into the collective bargaining agreement 3 years ago. This whole swing off to end the All-Star game.
And for those that missed it, the swing off rosters were determined largely before the game. They made one change because a player got hit by a pitch. But the reason you didn't see Ohtani is that he was on a plane on his way back to LA by the time that the swing off started.
Also, apparently going forward, none of the starters will ever be in the swing off because they've been out of the game for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and they don't want them to then risk injury. So it will always be somebody who came in reserve.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, yes, they could say they're hurt or tired. Okay, the manager has the right to change. Like last night, Suarez was in it for the National League. He got hit by a pitch in the 8th. They replaced him with the guy from the Marlins.
Saw old Miller Lite commercial yesterday in my trip down TikTok lane, and it's Euchre. And he's talking about, once they knew who I was, they all ran to buy me a beer. Hey, Whitey Ford's here. So I lied.
Saw the Football Life on Madden over the weekend, and they had about a minute of him breaking through all those, And another thing.
Yep. Bubba Smith quit doing the Miller Lite ads when he was the whatever is it? What's the grand the host of the parade? What do they call it? Is it whatever you're when there's a parade? Is it the Grand Master of the parade?
Grand Marshal, right?
Grand Marshal. That's what I meant. He was the Grand Marshal of the homecoming parade at Michigan State, and the students were yelling, "Tastes great and less filling." And he's like, "Yeah, I probably need to be doing something else."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. He
should have just realized, but that's how they would know him.
Right.
They weren't old enough to see him play.
So we've not brought it up on this show, and we probably won't unless something happens. But every other show in the country brings it up every damn day, including the one I liked the most. But I have to read you this post from Yahoo Sports. LeBron James hasn't had buyout or trade discussions with the Lakers, and both sides expect him to be with the team for training camp. Yet every show is talking about LeBron being traded.
And we haven't.
We won't.
Doubt we will.
No, I want you to know that that's for you, listeners. We won't.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 2 poll questions. We saw how they ended the All-Star game yesterday with a swing off, a mini home run derby. Would you prefer that gimmick to end regular season games once they go extra innings, or would you prefer they stick with 10th inning, putting the runner on second with nobody out and end it that way? That's our poll question. Right now, it's nearly 70-30. You guys would keep the status quo, even though I think it's near unanimous that we liked how they ended the All-Star game last night. It was time to go to bed and go home, and thank you very much. That was fun. It's also National Hot Dog Day. And so instead of asking about condiments and what have you, we just asked, when's the last time you had one? Within the last week, last month, last year, or I don't eat hot dogs. And the most heartwarming part of the poll so far is 88 to 90% of you eat hot dogs. And Miller and Moulton are very grateful for that.
And nearly 70% of you have had one in the last 30 days. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
The SEC media days are going on. We talked a bit about it yesterday, not so much today because we've been loaded with guests and have other things that we were discussing. But a couple of things from yesterday to point out. Steve Sarkisian said basically he doesn't have enough money to go around. They're spending at least $40 million on their roster.
Also, we need to remind all of you, Steve Sarkisian coaches at the University of Texas. There is not an athletic department that generates more revenue than the University of Texas.
Now, you know that he coaches Texas. We know that he coaches Texas. But whoever runs the audio at the SEC Media Days apparently either doesn't know that he coaches Texas or thinks that Texas and Texas A&M are the same school. Because when Sarkisian was introduced to the crowd yesterday and the media members and everybody in attendance, they played the A&M fight song.
Yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did.
Greg Sankey began today's SEC Media Days by apologizing for the snafu yesterday.
Oh, is that what they're calling it? Playing the Aggie War Hymn, or otherwise known as the Spirit of Aggie Land, instead of what Texas's theme is. That's what we're calling it?
That's what I am calling it.
Oh, okay.
Greg Sankey did not call it a snafu. I called it a snafu.
Gotcha. Hey, Sark ignored it. He didn't even reference it. I don't know whether to be impressed or kind of like, guys, what the hell?
Right.
Okay?
I mean, what does seriously, David? Let's just say Napier goes up there and they play the Georgia fight song. I was thinking another SEC team. I was thinking they play, the Glory Georgia fight song. Napier has to address, to me, immediately you have to say, what the hell was that? Are you guys that, do you not pay? I mean, because your fan base, I think, would want you to address it, not ignore it. Like, does this guy not even know what song it is we play? Does he pay that little attention to where he's coaching? So, I love that Sankey had to apologize to start the day off.
To imagine.
Because Sankey doesn't apologize for anything. And this isn't his fault. So obviously he screamed at some people yesterday at the end of the day.
Well, he had to have gotten a call if the Texas AD isn't, in fact, in the building and said, what the... Could you imagine if Billy Napier got introduced and walked to the podium and they're playing Rocky Top? I mean, seriously.
Right. Arch
God.
Manning talked at length. He said he didn't want to come at first because he doesn't like cameras a whole hell of a lot. And then, said, hey, it's an honor to be here. Texas, blah, blah, blah. I love that someone asked him about Spurrier's comments. He deflected them quite nicely, said Spurrier's a great coach. He's in the Hall of Fame, right? But remember, Spurrier got in the Hall of Fame when Arch was like 3. So don't get all over Arch for not knowing if and when Spurrier got in the Hall of Fame. I thought he answered everything as well as he could. The pressure's on him, and he's aware of it. A lot of expectations in Texas. Best roster money can buy. It won a natty for Ohio State last year. Will it win a natty for Texas this year?
Texas doesn't have enough money. Okay. I mean, that's where you just want to somehow turn down the sound elsewhere and kind of like, did everybody hear that? Okay. Can we just all have a moment to respond to that? I mean, do you think Caitlin DeBoer from Alabama is watching that going, now that's hysterical. That's funny. Sark is saying I don't have enough money?
Right.
Because if Texas is saying they don't have enough money, then that sport needs a salary cap. Let me tell you. Mark, what's the baseball team equivalent to the University of Texas?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Thank you.
It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a great comp because I don't know if that would make Ohio State the Mets from a spending standpoint.
Probably.
But really and truly, when you look at that in its totality, Alabama is what? Because they don't have the cash that the other SEC schools have. They don't.
Cubs. They're the Cubs. Now, the Cubs have more cash than they're spending. But, the Cubs have cash. They do. Okay. They're generating
I
a
don't know
lot
if
of
Sam has
revenue.
got Cubs cash and that. I mean, the Cubs are a top 5 revenue team in baseball, aren't they? And a top, close to a top 5 spending team in baseball. I don't think where do you think just an NIL and money to spend on a roster? Where would you put Alabama in the SEC? Texas is 1. A&M and Georgia, I think, are 2 and 3.
I'd put them around 6, 7 in the SEC. I'd put them 10, 12 nationally on a consistent basis. So are they the Astros? Yes, financially, by the way. We're not talking wins and losses. We're just talking money here, folks. Don't get all bent out of shape, because obviously, you want to bring up the Yankees because you think that, your team wins more, but we're just talking money. That's all. Payroll.
But Texas, A&M, Georgia, I think Ole Miss spends more than Alabama now, and I think they have more than Alabama.
I don't think they do it every year. Like, I don't think they're doing it this year like they did last year. Okay. I think they're picking their spots with when they really go for it.
Okay. But I still think Ole Miss has more money than Alabama.
They definitely have as much. They definitely have as much.
And that's why when we were talking a while back, when you all wanted Napier gone and thought Lane Kiffin was the easy choice, I've been saying for a year and a half, luring Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss isn't as easy as people think. There's a lot of money in Oxford, a lot of money.
And we had Matt Moscone on the show yesterday who thinks that Lane Kiffin's the reason Ole Miss wasn't in the playoff last year. Thinks Lane blew it as a coach. That he said he thought Ole Miss was the most talented team in the conference last year. They went 9-3. The late season loss at Florida cost them a spot in the playoff. That fateful late November Saturday when Alabama lost at Oklahoma and Ole Miss lost at Florida. Miller and Moulton. When we come back, by the way, not only good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap today was the day when, we do have to make our picks for the Open Championship because I think it's unfair. I mean, the tournament will be 4.5 hours old when our show starts tomorrow.
Fair enough.
So I say we make some picks quickly, and then we take care of our business like we normally do here on Miller and Moulton.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no.
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I'll just throw this out there, Puck and Matt and anyone else. I don't think we'll ever ask a food question on this show and be concerned about whether it's good for you or not.
I first off, I don't like fast food. Fine. Do you think the restaurants I go to serve healthy food? Because they don't. I mean, I went and had Mexican last night at my little joint on Three Oaks. It's fabulous, by the way. We had a bowl of queso dip. There's no way a bowl full of melted cheese and chips is good for you. I went after it pretty hard.
Which I would argue, you would say there's no way that's good for you. And I'd be like, the hell it isn't. In fact, I could argue it's great for you. Oh, you're talking about healthy. That's not my definition of good or great.
Got to be honest, though. 4 of us for dinner, and my daughter had more than my wife and mother-in-law. Drinks, appetizers, tacos, not really dinner. $64, $66 for 4
That's
of us.
amazing.
Right. Yes, Logic Man. And the place is packed. And it's 80% Latino, 10% college kids who have discovered it because it's pretty close to the university, and then 10% old gringos like me. And they have booze now. At first, they didn't have a liquor license. It was just beer and wine. Now they have booze.
Your mother-in-law partakes, right?
Oh, yeah. She had a margarita last night.
Good for her.
I don't think, like, she'll have a drink. The last time she got drunk, I had this cherry-flavored vodka from the Traverse City Distillery in Michigan. And I made her she loves cherries. I made her a cherry vodka martini. And Nancy was loopy. I got Nancy drunk. I think that's the last time she's actually been drunk. That was pretty funny. Wow. Did you see Wingo's comments?
No.
People were complaining about McAfee in the home run derby. They're just getting a little sick of how much he's on.
Right.
And someone said a tweet out, said, kids don't realize it, but you used to be able to turn on ESPN and not see Stephen A. Smith or Pat McAfee. They were glorious times. Wingo reposted it and said, let me preface this by saying I have so many wonderful memories and so many great friends still working there that I want to succeed. But he's right. It used to be a glorious buffet where you could pick and choose what you wanted. Now it's like a banquet dinner, chicken or fish.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes from us being done for the day. The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks to Christopher Powers, Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett for joining us on the show. Christopher, Pat, and Seth
and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. You miss any part of the show, go to millermoulton.com and download what you missed.
So, in a shock to at least this host of the show, we spent the first 90 minutes of the show going into stupid voice. David rocked it for the first 30 minutes. I challenged him, and we cut it off in the second segment of the 7 o'clock hour, and neither of us has gone back to it. So I think that's a pretty good accomplishment for the day. But you're right, David. It's time. We did not do it the entire show. We've talked a lot of British Open. We have not made a pick on the British Open. I'm going to let you go first, because you mentioned a name yesterday of someone that I was high on, and I literally was about to ask a question on this golfer, and then you did, and I went, oh, David likes this guy too. So I will let you pick first, because I have 3 names in my head that I am leaning on. Who are you leaning on?
I have 3 names also, none of them American, which is probably foolish.
None of mine are American.
Oh, wow. Then I wonder how many of the same trio that we have.
I think one is for sure.
I like Rahm to win.
Not on my list.
I like Hovland and Fleetwood to place and show. Fleetwood, for what it's worth, finished second here 6 years ago. Now he finished 6 back of Lowry. Okay, but Fleetwood finished second here 6 years ago. So that's my trio. That's I'm not thinking. In fact, I'll go out on a limb. Highest finishing American, Patrick Reed.
Wow, that's a
How about
gutsy
that?
pick. That's a very gutsy pick. I don't think that'll be the case. I think Scheffler will play better than him, but Scheffler, you picked one out of the big group. I also have one out of the big group. Out of the big group, and I don't have him to win, but I think of the 3 favorites, if you will, out of Rahm, McIlroy, and Scheffler, I give Rory the best shot. I think Rory this time at home is going to play really, really well. He played great last week at the Scottish, and I think Rory's going to have a big week. I'm with you on Hovland. You know I love Victor Hovland. I have since the guy was an amateur. I've watched his career. I love the way that he plays. I think his game's in the right spot right now. I think he has a big week. But my pick to win the Open is Tyrrell Hatton.
Oh. Okay.
I think it's his time, and it would be spectacular.
Oh, my goodness.
He is so fun. To me as a sports fan, you want the camera on this guy as much as you can get it on him. You talk about Spieth in a running commentary. There's no running commentary better than what Hatton does out there.
Tyrrell Hatton, by the way, T6 at Royal Portrush 6 years ago, for what that's worth.
Hatton and Hovland, both about the same odds. Hatton is plus 2250, Hovland plus 2500. Rahm is 10-1, McIlroy a little less than 5-1 on the list, and Fleetwood also at 20-1 as far as the betting odds go.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was the day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Online, it's very easy. GameDayMen'sHealth.com, or call today. Locations in Bonita Springs and Naples. 239, of course, 427-3441. 239-427-3441. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off of your services. We start today in 1801. Pope Pius and Napoleon cut a deal, guaranteeing religious freedom for Catholics living in France. That's Pope and Napoleon. That's a couple of big hitters getting together. 1918, the end of the Romanov dynasty in Russia, as Nicholas II and his family were killed by the Bolsheviks. 1935, the first parking meter was installed on 1st Street and Robinson Avenue in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Sam Snead, huge favorite at the PGA today in 38. He was whooped 8-7 by Paul Runyon. 1941, DiMaggio goes 3 for 4, extending his hitting streak to 56 games. That would be the end. He would go 0 for 4 tomorrow. This is a fun one, David. Today in 48, major league owners or presidents or whoever was running teams went crazy. 3 managers were fired on the same day. In Philly, Ben Chapman out, Eddie Sawyer in. In New York, the Brooklyn Dodgers fire Leo DeRocher and bring in Bert Schotten. And the Giants said, DeRocher's available? He's in here. Mel Ott, you're fired. All happened today in 48. That's a great day for sports talk radio.
No doubt about it. FAN in New York was going crazy.
Catcher in the Rye was published today in 51. The Tigers and then what was known as Briggs Stadium sold today for a record $5.5 million in 1956. All right, some really cool music things here. Today in 66, Cream was formed. Clapton left to the Yardbirds, teamed up with Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker to form Cream. They would only last for 3 years. But today in 67, the Monkees performed at Forest Hills Tennis Stadium in Queens. Their opening act, Jimi Hendrix. The Who began their first U.S. tour, appearing at the Fillmore in San Francisco, opening for Herman's Hermits. And at the Newport Folk Festival, Joni Mitchell made her debut, and Arlo Guthrie debuted Alice's Restaurant for the first time, the 18-minute song. All happened today in 67. Apollo 11 launched today in 1969. It would land on the moon tomorrow at 1:46 p.m. Harry Chapin died in a car crash at the age of 38 today in 81. John F. Kennedy Jr. killed in a plane crash today in 99. Martha Stewart sentenced to 5 months in prison for lying to federal investigators. Federer wins his 8th Wimbledon today in 2017. Taylor Swift, Speak Now, debuts at #1 on Billboard, her 12th #1 album, surpassing Barbra Streisand for most #1 albums by a female artist. And 2 years ago, Alcaraz beat Djokovic in that great 5-setter for the Wimbledon title. Orville Redenbacher, Ginger Rogers, and Margaret Smith Court would have all celebrated birthdays today. Those that we wish a happy birthday to, Jimmy Johnson, he's 82. Stuart Copeland from The Police is 73. Michael Flatley, you know, that whole Riverdance thing, he's 67. Terry Pendleton is 65. Phoebe Cates is 62. Every Red Wings favorite hockey player, Claude Lemieux, is 60. Will Ferrell, 58. Barry Sanders, 57. Actor Corey Feldman is 54. Aaron Glenn is 53. And Duncan Keith is 42 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, 2 things. First off, Jimmy Johnson looks amazing for 82.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Amazing. And secondly, I am a little surprised and disappointed there was not a pause after Phoebe Cates.
There was in my mind, David. I
Okay.
just, we did the open stuff. We were running low on time.
Okay.
So scooted
That's fair
through.
enough.
But you're right. It was worth a pause. That's on me.
First atomic bomb test that was successful was today in 45. So obviously 3 weeks later, they put it to use. But first time we got it right was today in 45. And first time publicly that in the Watergate hearings in 73, that one of the folks said, yeah, we got this taping system and everything in the White House is taped. They were like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. Hey.
Well, sorry, I jumped the gun there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Go.
All right.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, I've got bad owners. Great work by the fire department. Because in Lacey, Washington, a small puppy was exposed to fentanyl by her drug-addicted owners. The Lacey Fire Department saved the dog by giving the dog Narcan to save its life. Good for them. For the bad, we go to Thailand, where Willawan Emsayat is a mid-30-year-old woman who has been arrested on capital charges, including extortion, money laundering, and receiving stolen goods. It all started because she allegedly enticed a string of Buddhist monks into sexual relationships and then pressured them into making large payments to cover up their intimacy.
Whoa.
You got that right. Look it. I don't know what this woman claims to do, what she does, what she looks like. But when you can get a Buddhist monk to go from celibacy to, you know what? You've pulled something off there, lady. You really have.
You've got game. I'll tell you that.
Finally, the ugly, we come back to Southwest Florida, where John Albanos was at his home when some kids rang the doorbell and took off on their scooters. You know, ding dong ditch. Many of us had done it one time in our life. Apparently, the 51-year-old either hadn't or got caught when he did it because he went nuts after 3 kids rang his doorbell. He got into his car and tried to chase the kids down. The kids had to flee to a nearby yard. Fortunately, a witness saw him swerving his car at the kids and called 911. He was apprehended by Collier County Police. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, July the 16th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Can you hear the construction going on?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, they got a jackhammer right outside my window. They got a backhoe outside. I don't know what's going on.
They got a backhoe. You're 3 floors up.
I know. Obviously, they're tearing stuff up. There's only one sport going on tonight. That's the WNBA. 10 of the 12 teams in the league are playing today and tonight. I doubt you're going to see Caitlin Clark, but the Fever are in New York to face the Liberty, 7:30 on CBS Sports Network. For what it's worth, our buddy Carl Semesco at noon's in Chicago to face the Sky. And 2 best teams in the league are playing at 1 o'clock. Phoenix is at Minnesota. Can the Lynx be 20-4 at the All-Star break?
Boy, who would have thunk that before the season?
It's nice that we end with a certain amount of snark. Otherwise, you'd think somehow it wasn't Miller and Moulton. It was another show.
All right, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
That it is National Hot Dog Day.
Yes.
And I know you're going out for at least 2 more meals today because that's what you do.
Yes.
Will one of those meals be hot dogs now that you are aware of National Hot Dog Day?
Oh, absolutely. It's late lunch. I'm going to pound some tuna mac. I'm going to take a nap because I didn't get much sleep last night because of the All-Star game. And then when I wake up from it, oh, yeah, I'm going to pound some dogs and then figure out what I'm going to eat for dinner. Right. Absolutely. It's National Hot Dog Day.
Yeah, my mother-in-law doesn't realize because she'll want to ride with me to take my daughter to gymnastics. And I'm going right to the drive-thru after. Whether she wants a coney or not is irrelevant. Whether or not we're having dinner after I have that coney dog is irrelevant. I'm having a coney dog today.
Part of home field advantage, Mark. Use it.
It really is. You only have it so often. Take advantage when you can. The Open starts tomorrow, 1:30 in the morning on Peacock. 4 a.m. USA Network for the remainder of the television day. The Open will be on USA both Thursday and Friday. Peacock 1:30 to 4, USA Network from 4 a.m. on, and also from 4 a.m. on. It's on the NBC Sports app. I have no idea what they're doing and what they're thinking. Makes no sense to me. Have a great rest of your hump day, Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no.
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.